Good evening. Today is May 7, 2024. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Our thought for today is the truth of your character is expressed through the choice of your actions, author unknown. I'm going to ask today if Commissioner Edwards would lead us in our prayer and our pledge today. Thank you, sir.
Everyone would bow their heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for another day that we have to come together and do the business of the county. We ask for your blessing on every decision we make. We ask that you watch over us, guide us, and carry us all home safely. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Again, welcome tonight to our board meeting, our first board meeting of the month of May. Commissioner Elena Sanders is online tonight, so she is in attendance tonight. With that being said, I seek a motion that we approve the agenda, please.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I have a question about the agenda. There was an email sent that there is an appointment that's going to be added to the agenda. I don't see it on the agenda, and I had a question that wasn't answered. And that question was, is this a board appointment that's to the solid waste, or is it a commissioner appointment to the solid waste?
Commissioner, this is Patrick. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I sent you an email about an hour or so ago. I was on the road when you sent the email. This is under Georgia law. The Newton County Solid Waste Authority appointments are dictated by Georgia law, not by any local action. And there is no provision for district appointments. In fact, there are only 3 citizen appointments to be made by the Board of Commissioners, so there's not enough for every district to have his or her own appointee.
No, that's not what I was asking. I was asking, is this a board? So this is a board appointment. That's the question I'm asking. This appointment is made by the entire Board of Commissioners.
Yes, it's a board.
Correct?
It is a
So
board
my
appointment.
question is, why is it not being done like the tax assessor board when it was a board appointment and we all put in on who we would like to see, and the commissioners voted on those individuals by actually submitting who they would like to be appointed to this board?
Yeah, the board can do it however they want. And I think tonight's motion is a recommendation to reappoint the existing member.
Okay, so that didn't happen with the tax assessor appointment. You stated that it was a board appointment and the commissioners can make their suggestions or propose individuals to be on this board. So if that's the same thing with the solid waste, we should do it the exact same way if we're going to be consistent as a government.
That's up to the board. There's nothing, if that's what the board wishes to do, that's perfectly okay.
So we're
yes.
saying the board is not going to be consistent with only one way. We only do it if it's a tax assessor, not for all of the appointments.
So it's my understanding that
Even though
the
it's
solid
written
waste
that it's
authority
a
made
board
recommendation.
appointment.
Is that-
Yeah, the recommendation to reappoint the current member came from the Solid Waste Authority. So that's why it's on it the way it is. But if the board
Right.
wishes to do it differently, the board certainly can.
The recommendation came from the Solid Waste Authority, but the Board of Commissioners have to approve the appointment with a vote. Am I correct?
That's correct, and that's why it's on the agenda.
Okay, so it's the exact same thing as the tax assessor. So what makes it different?
It's entirely up to the board how you proceed.
Okay, so as the attorney, Patrick, that's why I'm speaking to you in regards to that, is because I'm looking for our attorney to assist us in this to make sure we're consistent as a government, that there doesn't look like there's any favoritism or anything done differently. So if we're gonna move one way, then I'm looking for legal to assist us in that manner, because we did that with the tax assessor board. We changed it up from something that's been done for 30 years and went to and stated that this appointment is a board appointment, that all board members can decide on or suggest who they would like to sit on this board, and then we vote on the appointment. If that's the same structure, it needs to be done for all appointments that are board appointments. Now, if the board want to be inconsistent, I just want to make sure it's documented that it's inconsistent.
From my standpoint as the attorney, there's no legal requirement that all appointments be made the same way. That is a business decision for the board to make in its wisdom.
Okay. I
There's
just
no,
want it documented of its inconsistency. That's all I want. I just want to make sure
yeah,
it's documented.
there's nothing
I was looking
unlawful
for-
about
that's all.
inconsistency, yes.
Thank you. I had Commissioner, he had a question first. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. First, I want to add a agenda item for discussion, but I want to comment on what Commissioner Sanders said. As far as the tax assessor board, what happened was that the tax assessor board, they recommended that Mr. Blackshift be on that particular board. This board did not go along with that. Typically it was a District 4 appointment. So, it is not consistent. I just have to stand up for what's right. And I don't think it's been done right in this particular instance for this particular board. So when might I also ask to add an agenda item? I guess County Attorney, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I want to. Yes. What I would like to do is that we all know that last Tuesday, I think it was last Tuesday, we were on 162 at the church, and all the people from the Water Authority came over at Good Hope, and they were talking about the water and how we should drink it. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but we all agreed. Everybody agreed in the room that forever chemical was in it. They call it pre-fray. I probably pronounced it a little wrong. And it is a carcinogen, and it is poison. And it will give you cancer. And it will give you cancer to the liver, to the pancreas, and to the gallbladder. It'll give it to you, drink it long enough. And so what we wanted for the people who wanted to be tested, we wanted the test to be made available for the people who might want to test to see how much of that chemicals is in our bodies. Because from the further discussion, they talked about how many years that maybe he had been in our ward and we had been drinking it, and nobody said, well, hey, we might need to know more about this. And so I started looking around, and I couldn't find no blood test that would test me, because I wanted to know personally, because I know by being a person of age that those underlying issues can kill you. And I know about cancer. What I know about cancer is early detection can save your life or prolong your life. And so what I wanted to put on the agenda was a discussion on how can we make available to the public, for the ones who might want it, a kit so that you can test for the blood. And I'm going to just end with this, and the board do however they want to do. People can tell you something all right. It may not be all right. And I'm so glad that my mother and my father back in the day thought enough of me to make me go to school, to make me understand some of the things that were going on in our community so they could be addressed, because they wanted me to have an education. I'd like to make a motion that we have discussion on finding the kits for forever chemicals so that the citizens of Newton County can test their blood, make them available in the county.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? It's been motioned to amend the agenda to add discussion of forever chemicals in our drinking water for testing. Is there any discussion? All in favor of amending it? Commissioner Mason?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I guess I want to ask, because I guess the question was posed, is there any local tests? So is there, can our county manager answer that question? Do we know if there are any tests that are out there that can actually test for this? And I don't know if this is something that you know now, or if we have to find that out at a later time, or.
We can do our research to determine that.
Okay. so we don't really have that data now. So it's something that we really need to actually do research to figure out where we can do testing or how we can do testing.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All in favor of adding to the agenda? Any opposed? Thank you. That motion failed. 3-2. I'm sorry?
I would like to make a motion.
To do what?
I would like to make a motion to add to the agenda, this number 8, the discussion on cost of recreation for District 3, months 2017 and 2023. Per the consultant, I'm part of the project manager in the last block meeting. He was told he was not given the directive to move forward to look for any other land. So there needs to be some discussion or some directive to give the consultant, the project manager. If the board don't have a discussion, then the project manager is not going to move. So I would like to make that into motion to add just the discussion of the 2017, 2023 SPLOSH project for District 3.
Thank you. Commissioner Calhoun, is that us?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's my opinion that discussions of real estate, we don't need to do them in open session until we get a contract and a decision made. I think it's more appropriate for this discussion to happen in executive session up until we make a decision on what location, what area we have to put any additional parks in. It's my understanding under the open records law that you don't discuss real estate except in executive session, the acquisition of real estate. And at this point, we have not identified a piece of property to even get into discussion about. So to me, it makes more sense to add this as an executive session item.
Commissioner Henderson.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second.
I'm sorry? Oh, he's second. It's been motioned to amend the agenda to that discussion of, so there's a motion on the floor?
Yeah,
If I can get,
you can hear me. I'm sorry, you can hear what I said.
so we haven't got to that part yet.
Oh, I heard Commissioner Calhoun speaking, so I thought we were in discussion.
No, ma'am, we haven't got to that part yet. I'll let you know when we get there, though. There's been a motion that we add a discussion of parks and recs and property to the agenda. In a discussion. Commissioner Sanders was first, and then
Just to reiterate on what Commissioner Calhoun said, we're not going to discuss specific real estate. We have to give the consultant, the project manager, a directive. Per the consultant, the last property that's available, which I don't understand why the property was even brought to us, all the landowners on WOMAC didn't agree to sell. So we were given the property and all the landowners didn't agree to sell. So the project manager has to be given a directive to go back out and search the land. That's what he said at the last meeting. So it's not discussing specific areas or real estate. It's discussion that we're given a directive for the project manager to go out and find land.
thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Henderson, and then I got you, Commissioner Mason.
First of all, thank you. You know, it's been too long for District 3 not to have a park in the district, and the board has always denied it. And for it to drop it down to a lower level, for having at least a discussion, and for it to be denied, and I know where you're going, to be denied, it's really a disservice to those people in that community. And so I just don't know, what is it, y'all, that we don't want to do anything in District 3? Why?
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to bring some clarity to this matter, I believe this board does want to do something for District 3. We just want to make sure that we're doing everything decent, in order, that it's proper, protocol. I know my colleagues have stressed in the past that they wanted to do things by the law and that they wanted to do things legally. And so, you know, we want to do things by the law. We want to do things legally. And so, as Commissioner Cowan stated, land acquisition is definitely an executive session matter that cannot be discussed in a public meeting. It is anything on the 2017 and the 2023 SPLOST. We don't have to actually give a directive. That is what the citizens of Newton County have already done. When that amendment was placed on the actual ballot, that says that the citizens of this county want that particular project done. And so the project manager is very well aware that is a project that needs to be done. We don't have to come back and give an additional directive to say, go out and find land, because the project manager has already been given that directive. So the project manager is aware. If the citizens remember, we had 3 sites for the West Side Youth Facility that we actually discussed. So it is not as if the project manager or this board is not aware that that project is something that has to be fulfilled, because all of those projects have to be fulfilled. So we don't have to have a discussion item to give an additional directive, because the project manager already knows that that is a project that has to be fulfilled. So it doesn't have to be a discussion item. They know that already. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, let's just see if it's gonna make it to the, let's see if it's gonna make it to the agenda for discussion, y'all. I'm calling for the vote. Let's see if it's gonna make it to the agenda. All in favor of adding this item to the agenda. All in favor of adding this to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I had another comment I would like to make, if I could, on this. And I asked that before you.
All in favor of adding it to the agenda. I'm calling for the vote. All in favor of adding it to the agenda? Any opposed? Any opposed?
I want to add it to the agenda. You said all in favor?
I'm actually again. All in favor of adding it to the agenda? Are you in favor of adding it to the agenda, Commissioner Sanders? Commissioner Sanders, I'm trying to let you know that I'm calling for the vote. Are you in favor of adding it to the agenda, or are you not? Okay, thank you. Any opposed? Any opposed? Any opposed? Thank you. It failed 3-2. It failed 3-2. Next, we're moving on to the consent agenda. I'm asking for, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. No, we have the regular agenda, I'm sorry. Motion to approve the agenda as a second. Any discussion? There's been a motion to approve the agenda and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, it passes 4-1. Thank you so much. Next is citizens' comments. This is an opportunity that we allow citizens to make comments about agenda topics. You may come at this time. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
My name is Dave Norton. I live in Newborn. I am here to comment on agenda item number 10, discussion of the ordinance to establish rules and procedures. I know it is not the desire of this board to silence the citizens of Newton County, but it does raise a lot of questions, which I'm sure our county attorney has probably already answered for you, but I'm going to ask them anyway. Will this affect our zoning hearings in any way? I've understood that we're going to be doing a sign-up to speak. will this also be required for zoning hearings? There's two sections of citizens' comments, at the beginning of the meeting and at the end of the meeting. Will there be a separate sign-off for each one? What time will the cutoff be for someone to sign up to speak? Who decides which topics can be discussed on the second portion? Can this person overlook a person's sign-up if they don't want it to be discussed, even if it is relevant? And must we list the topics for both portions of the citizens' comments when we sign up? Also, will this go into effect the May 21st meeting if it's approved this evening? And does this meet all state and federal laws concerning open meetings and the First Amendment? Thank you.
Anyone else?
John Clemens, I live at Deep Step Road in Newton County. I too also want to speak on item 10. My biggest concern with this is, number one, I know, well, obviously, it comes across as silencing the community, which I don't think is what the purpose is, and I understand that in the past there have been meetings where there have been some things that got out of hand. I was not present at those meetings, so I don't know exactly what they were. My concern is we're going through a whole lot of legalese here, it seems like, to get to a point where we have sheriffs in this building. And it would seem to me a very simple procedure, should someone step out of line, whatever it might be, to call a sheriff's officer in and say, you are now being taken out of this meeting and you will not be able to get back in. And if it got to a point where someone got really rowdy, that's what they make handcuffs for. And I don't understand why we have to go through this, and I read this today. I don't understand why we have to go through all of that to take care of a problem that, to me, could be taken care of very simply by simply calling a sheriff's in here and saying, hey, you're out of line, it's time to leave. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Under Threat Nation News, my name is Jackson. I'm a citizen of Covington. I'm going to speak on number 10. To violate the citizen rights here in Covington, Georgia, Newton County, should be unconstitutional. How can this board tell these people how to address their government? It doesn't make sense. It violates everything what the Constitution says we should be able to do. Mr. Mason, Mr. Elwood, Mr. Cowan, you guys should not put this agenda on here. I don't feel it's right for you to try to tell me and my citizen, or the citizens of Covington, what to say. This shouldn't even be on here. How are you going to try to control my thoughts? If that be the case, nobody wouldn't be in here. That means you got to do what you want to do. We got enough of that corruption around here. We want to be able to come up here, speak our mind, tell you exactly how we feel and what's going on in our community. And for you guys to sit up here and try to take that away from the citizen, every citizen in Newton County, at the sound of my voice, know these guys want to stifle what you say to them. And it's not right, it's unconstitutional, and I hope the citizens of Newton County hold every one of you guys accountable.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Barbara Morgan, 2158 East Street, Covington, Georgia. No one is taking anything away from the right of citizens to speak to their government officials, but you guys do not qualify to be denigrated and disparaged and slandered to sit up here and do people's business. You have a responsibility to us, and we have a responsibility to you to be civil in our discourse, and that's all this is about.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is the chairman's report. Ms. Hughes, if you would, please come on up. Guys, I just want to give you a quick rundown. At 7:30, we have to go into our zoning. At 7:30, we have to go into our zoning. So if you get cut off, we're going to come back to you. Ms. Hughes.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairman and members of the dais. As we continue to highlight local community nonprofit organizations and provide useful resources available in Newton County, tonight you will hear from 3 nonprofit organizations who received ARPA funds. We will hear from Oxford Baptist Church, who received $32,409, Building Strong Futures, who received $27,865, and the Newton County 4-H Extension, who received $50,000. We'll welcome to the dais Oxford Baptist Church, Building Strong Futures, and Newton 4-H in that order. Please remember to limit your presentations to 5 minutes. Oxford.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Board of Commissioners, friends and residents of Newton County. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you this evening. First, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers who are here, current mothers or mothers-to-be, wherever you are in that process. We love our mothers, and we're so thankful for you. So I want to make sure we mention that. My name is Kevin Wilhite. I am a citizen of Newton County. I live in the River Cove neighborhood. I'm also a small business owner operating a construction company based in Newton County, but I'm also the senior pastor of Oxford Baptist Church since October the 4th of 2020. It has been my privilege to call myself a member of Oxford Baptist Church since June of 2005, and this evening I want to share how the members of Oxford Baptist Church, through the support of our local commissioners, have been working to make our county a better place to live. As many of you know, Oxford Baptist Church has had a presence in Newton County since 1962 and has facilitated a vibrant community of faithful Christians serving our beloved county. Oxford Baptist has seen many changes as a church and congregation. From its historically white beginnings, Oxford Baptist now hosts a vibrant community of people of different races and ethnicities, with regular attenders hailing from places such as Jamaica, Guatemala, Vietnam, China, Korea, and other foreign lands known as New York, New Jersey, and California. Yeah. Thank you. It's got to give space, right? Our vision as a church is to be a place of strong faith and strong family. And if you were to come and visit us on a Sunday morning or throughout the week, you would be warmly welcomed and encouraged. In early 2023, we were made aware of the opportunity to extend our reach into our community through the American Rescue Plan Act, known as ARPA. The U.S. federal government, through the ARPA, made funds available to help local schools, organizations, churches, etc., to get healthy again after the COVID-19 pandemic. After a rigorous application process, we were graciously granted funds from ARPA to develop a youth and children-specific outreach in our community. With those funds, we were able to purchase items such as sporting equipment, outdoor furnishings, technological equipment, and were able to fund a part-time youth outreach worker. While our vision of reaching the youth in the community is only in its infancy, we have already enjoyed successful outreaches such as hosting movie nights on our lawn, attracting dozens of youth and their families, holding regular events for young people in our community to develop their character and engage in positive relationship development. Our youth worker, Matt, has a grand vision to use our property and facilities to impact young people in our community positively and to be a beacon of light and hope to those around us. The vision statement comes from John 1:5, which says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Since a grant also extended to college-age young people and children, we have worked with the Children's Director at Oxford Baptist to create a weekly mom and babies event called Moms of Cov, which has seen tremendous community engagement. The moms who come and participate are able to develop close relationships, gain wisdom and knowledge from one another as they talk about their experiences in raising a family, something that is vital for the long-term health of the residents of our beloved county. They come from Madison, New Bern, Loganville, Monroe, because what we do is not present anywhere else in the area. We are also proud to partner with Bread Oxford, a nonprofit organization which hosts a community space for college-age students in the house that is located on our church property. Bread's weekly events are well attended, and the students are able to make use of the outdoor furnishings and create community around good food and fellowship. Since we received the ARPA investment, we estimate the impact on our community has increased by hundreds of people. But it's not just the quantity of people we're concerned with, but the quality of relationships that are being developed. In times past, Oxford Baptist has seen its share of growth and decline. Presently, we are in a season of growth, and we love the opportunity to meet new people in our community. We believe that healthy relationships are the most important pursuit in our lives. First,
Pastor Kevin, I'm gonna have to jump in.
That's fine. I know it's 7:30.
Yeah, it's 7:31. I'm gonna have to jump in.
That's fine.
Because we definitely got to go to zoning at 7:30, and I'm 1 minute behind as advertised. But we will bring you back up
That's fine.
shortly here.
No
Okay.
problem. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much, Ms. Applewhite. I know. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, members of the board. Our first petition this evening is a rezoning. It's going to be off of Fincher Road. It is REZ 24-000004. Future land use map is rural residential and parks, rec, and conservation. The existing zoning is mostly agricultural, and there's a small sliver of agricultural residential. The proposed zoning today would be rural estate. It is in the Yellow River watershed, found on Fincher Road at 47.13 acres. The tax ID is 0072002D, located in Commissioner District 1. The character area is low-density rural residential, and the current owner is Jack Scott Coody, and our petitioner today is Mr. John Nix. Brief history: on April 23rd, the Planning Commission recommended approval of this rezoning to rural estate by a vote of 4-0. And again, the applicant's intent is to rezone the property to rural estate in order to subdivide 4 family members. And just a little bit about the subject site that we mentioned before, it's the 47.13 acres, currently zoned A and AR. It's undeveloped land currently. Again, the character area is rural residential. This is included in your packet, so I won't read through it, but an appropriate zoning for this character area is rural estate. And in conclusion to the findings, there are factors which support the rezoning requests, as the future land use map already has this area identified for low-density residential. The minimum lot size on the rural estate is 2 acres, and staff does not anticipate any adverse impacts from this rezoning. And the site plan that was presented to our department back in March for land use, again, it's 47.13 acres, which will be subdivided for family members at this time. Recommended conditions. Should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved for rural estate conditional, subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. And 1, to the owner's agreement to, and I have A that is already struck through because at the Planning Commission meeting, they recommended that this condition be removed. So I just wanted you to see it there, but that was a recommendation that came from them. So basically we are left with 2 conditions today if the board is in agreement with taking A out. So it would be B, a minor or exempt plat to create new lots shall be submitted and reviewed for approval by Development Services. And C, all permits must be obtained from Development Services, Fire Department, Transportation Department, the Water Authority, the Georgia Soil and Water Commission, as applicable prior to any building or development. This is the parcel we're looking at. So we've got Fincher Road here. It's at the very end of Fincher Road, and it's these 47 acres here. Again, future land use map. It's largely RR, and then you have the green at the bottom here is just like a little sliver from the river, which is Parks, Rec, and Conservation. The zoning is A zoning, and then again a little sliver at the bottom here. All of this is being proposed to be rezoned to a rural estate like the adjacent parcel here. It's in the Yellow River watershed. This is the survey that was presented. This is actually Fincher Road here. North is this way. Oh, and that's it. If there are any questions, Chairman, the representative of the applicant is here today.
Thank you so much. It is 7:36. We're going to open it up now for our public hearing. The applicant and those that would like to speak in favor tonight, you have 10 minutes to do so. You may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Good evening, John Nix, 945 Bank Street. I represent Mr. Cootie, who was seated next to me before I came up here. Fundamentally, what Mr. Cootie is trying to do with attractive property that was owned by his father is planned for the future. The current zoning restricts him to 10-acre lots. You can see he already subdivided a small tract for his daughter several years ago. That's that little out parcel to the corner by Fincher Road. He plans to build his home there on 3 to 4 acres with the hopes that one day some of his family members will join him there. We're asking that the condition that was proposed, number 1 or A on the sheet, we would like that to go with the recommendation of the Planning Commission. We are agreeable to conditions B and C. The reason for not being in favor of A is simply because as zoned, there are approximately 44 uses that can be made of the property. 25 of them are agriculture. Under the RE, there's about 42 uses that can be made of the property, and simply did not want to restrict it simply to what he's planning today, but allow him to have the benefit of the RE in the future if he should choose to use it. And I'll conclude my remarks with that and just answer any questions that you all have.
Thank you, sir. You want to save your time?
Yes.
For rebuttal? Okay, thank you. 8 minutes and 39. Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else would like to speak in favor? Thank you. We also allow 10 minutes for those that would like to oppose tonight. You may come at this time. If you would state your name and your address for the record, please. If anyone would like to oppose tonight? Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Thank you. Ms. Applewhite. I think this is Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve rezoning request REZ 2400000. Thank you, Mr.
sir.
Chairman.
Is there a second? Is there a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards for approval and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Sanders? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Ms. Applewhite.
Thank you, Chairman. Our second petition this evening is a conditional use permit. It is CUP 24-000004. There is a companion case which will be a variance, VAR 24-000008, to be heard by the Board of Zoning Appeals this month in May. The proposed use is going to be to use a manufactured home as a parsonage. The existing zoning is AR, agricultural residential. It's in the South River watershed. The current location is 5325 Highway 81 South. There's approximately 478 feet of road frontage along Highway 81 South. The parcel is 9 acres. The tax ID is 0032049. This is also in Commissioner District 1. Current owner is Central Community Outreach Church, Inc., and our petitioner and our representative today is Jose Hidalgo. And again, there is a companion case that will be heard May 23rd by the BZA, and the variance is for the roof pitch of the mobile home. Currently, our ordinance states that the roof pitch should be a 512, and these are hard to come by these days in terms of them manufacturing that kind of roof pitch. So the BZA will hear that part for the variance. And on April 23rd, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the CUP by a vote of 4-0. The subject site, again, 9 acres, zoned agricultural residential, currently used as a church. And again, the site plan and the letter of intent both indicate that the land is used as a church, and there's another structure located on the property as well, also used for church purposes. This is a section that is applicable. It's section 510-480, place of worship. I won't read through it, but I've highlighted section B, which refers to accessory structures, which this mobile home for a parsonage will be. And then section C4, where you're required to get a conditional use permit to place this kind of structure on a church ground. And that's why we're here today. Again, this is just a continuation of the requirements for a place of worship. And in conclusion, if this use meets the standards as set forth in the section that we mentioned above, which is the 510-480, for an accessory structure or parsonage for the church, it should be approved. And staff recommendations would be that this board consider the following recommendations if they are going to approve this conditional use permit. So our recommended conditions: should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved for a CUP to allow a manufactured home to be used as a parsonage, conditional subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. And one is the CUP 24-000004 is to allow a parsonage to be placed on the property for the pastor or staff to reside in. 2, to obtain a variance for the roof pitch of the manufactured home, and again, this will be heard by the BZA. Number 3, to allow a manufactured home, in this case a double wide, to serve as a parsonage. And I've placed this condition in here because typically for manufactured homes to go into certain zoning districts, namely A, AR, and RE, they do have to go before the Planning Commission for a hearing. But we've already been before them with this hearing, so there was no need to duplicate that process. So I've just put the condition in here to allow the manufactured home to be placed there as a parsonage. And number 4, prior to the parsonage being occupied, all permits from Development Services, the Fire Marshal, Transportation Department, and the Water Authority shall be obtained as required. And they should also include GDOT, since it's located on Highway 81. They will need a moving permit for the manufactured home to bring it to this location. And 5, comply with all Newton County Fire Codes. 6, obtain the necessary moving permits for the manufactured home. So this is an aerial view. So the church is in this first building here. And then we've got some other accessory structures. This is an open shed, like a pole barn kind of structure. The current zoning is agricultural residential. Again, Commissioner District 1, South River watershed. And I'm just zoomed in so you can kind of see what they have on the ground. So there's a lot of space. There's a total of 9 acres. So there's more than enough room to place the mobile home there. This is the proposed location of the home. And of course, this is what it looks like today from the street view. And this first building here, that's the church. And if there are any questions for staff, if not, Chairman, this too is a public hearing.
Thank you, ma'am.
The applicant is here.
It is approximately 7:44. We're going to open it up now for our public hearing. The applicant and those that would like to speak in favor tonight, you may come at this time. You have 10 minutes to do so. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight. Anyone want to speak in favor tonight? Anyone want to speak in favor tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those that would like to oppose tonight. If you would, please come and state your name and your address for the record, please. You may come at this time. Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Ms. Applewhite. I think this is in District 1 as well. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like the motion to approve conditional use permit CUP 24-000004 with staff recommendations.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Is there a second tonight?
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Edwards?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Applewhite, so the conditional use permit would expire if the land were to be, if the property were to be sold to another church, for instance, correct? Or would that carry?
It would expire if the use ceases. So if it stopped being a church and it became something else, you know, the church relocated and sold the building to a business or something, then, you know, that conditional use permit.
Okay, so it essentially becomes part of the church overall, correct?
The parsonage, yes.
Okay.
It will go with the church, yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. So, this gonna be like a house? I mean,
It's like a double wide trailer mobile home.
okay.
These are considered primary residential structures in our county. And typically they can be located by themselves on a parcel of land as like a regular stick-built home.
Oh, okay, so I guess we're saying that either the pastor or some of them may be in it, living in it or something.
Yeah, parsonage is usually pastor or
Okay.
staff member that will live there, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Sanders? I'm sorry? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Ms. Applewhite.
Thank you, Chairman. Our next petition this evening is also a conditional use permit. It is CUP 24-000005. The proposed use is a special events facility. Current zoning is agricultural residential. This is in the Bear Creek watershed at 1875 Highway 142. There's approximately 3,132 feet of road frontage along Highway 142. The parcel is 49.96 acres. The tax ID is 0115053, located in Commissioner District 5. The current owner is BWOW LLC, and our petitioner and a representative today is Mr. Bruce Verge. On history, on 4/23/2024, the Planning Commission recommended denial for this CUP to locate a special events facility. And again, the applicant's intent is to operate a special event facility for weddings, reunions, and other special event gatherings. And the site location is 49.96 acres. The zone is AR. Currently, the use is residential, or there's a home located there right now. And for the site plan analysis, based on the site plan submitted by the applicant to Development Services on February 26, 2024, staff offers the following considerations. So the site plan and the letter of intent indicated a home, which is the proposed use for the special event facility, will be located approximately 370 feet off of Highway 142 on the 49.96 acre lot. The site plan clearly indicates where the home's going to be, a parking area, the ceremonial site, as well as the facility. Okay, it indicates the location of the parking area. There's currently a pole barn, a stable, and 2 ponds also on the property, sorry, not the pond. The applicable section would be a special events facility, section 510-595. I won't go through this, it's included in your staff reports, but we're here today because if the facility is over 5,000 square feet, or they will have more than 50 guests seated, a conditional use permit is required. So that's one of the reasons why we're here today. But these are the requirements that the applicant will have to meet. If this conditional use does not include the sale of alcohol, they would have to come back for another CUP for that. And the applicant has indicated that they won't be selling alcohol at this time as part of their business. But if there's an event, like a wedding where alcohol will be used, then the bartender for that event would have to come and get their own permits and everything from us. Conclusion, the proposed special events facility is located on a Georgia state route, allowing for easy access to the property. The property is large enough to accommodate ingress and egress on connected driveways. There is adequate area for parking and outdoor activities related to the events. The converted residence is approximately 9,309 square feet with a finished basement included. If this use meets the standards set forth in section 510-595 for a special events facility, it should be approved. Staff recommends that should the board approve the conditional use request to allow the special events facility, that the approval be with the following recommended conditions. So the recommended conditions. If the board were to approve this, we do ask it would be for a conditional use permit for a special events facility, subject to the owner's agreement to the following conditions. 1, CUP 24-00005 is to allow a special events facility. 2, comply with all Newton County fire codes. 3, the outside reception area shall be held to the rear and north of the home as shown on the concept plan. 4, no live bands, DJs, or loud amplification of music allowed outdoors. 5, no fireworks are allowed for any special event. 6, adequate parking shall be provided for guests in the area shown on the concept plan. 7, the guest occupancy shall be set by the fire marshal. 8, security personnel will be provided at each event to direct traffic while vehicles are entering and exiting the property during events. 9, allow guests, example of a wedding party, to stay for no more than 3 days before the event to prepare. 10, allow outside events. All outside events will end at 11 p.m., and this does not include the cleanup and takedown of the event. 11, adequate planted buffers shall be provided as needed. 12, it must obtain and maintain a business license. 13, obtain all permits required from Development Services, the Fire Marshal, Transportation Department, the Water Authority, Georgia Soil and Water Conservation, and GDOT as applicable. Thanks. So this is an aerial review of the property. The home is currently located in the center here, just in front of this lake. And again, it's almost 50 acres. I think there's a home here, but mostly it's just wooded area and ag land around it. Currently zoned agricultural residential. This is located in District 5. It's in the Bear Creek watershed. This is the survey that was submitted, so the events will be centered in this area here. We have the 2 driveways, one in and out. And this is just a close-up of it. So you've got the home, the pool, we have the garage here. Of course, the parking area will be here as proposed by the applicant. And then your driveways, one in and one out. This is the current, these are photographs of the property. This is the back where the pool is. And these are just shots of the interior and of course the backyard up there. And just more shots of the interior. And if there are any questions for staff, if not, Chairman, the applicant is here this time.
Thank you so much. It is approximately 7:53. We're going to open it up now for our public hearing. The applicant and those in favor, you may come at this time. You have 10 minutes to do so. The applicant and those in favor. Please state your name, your address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Michael Waters.
Good evening.
My address is 1117 Church Street, Covington, Georgia. And so I represent BWOW, which is really just Bruce Verge. He and his wife are in attendance here. And really what they're wanting to do is just have a very small private events facility. And I think it's important to know what this house originated as. When I was growing up a while back, it started as the Kimball House, and owned by Mr. Miley Kimball. And we would go there and we would take prom pictures. We would have events over there at his house. And really what Bruce wants to do is continue that tradition. He wants to be able to have small weddings, small business events, celebration of life events, family gatherings, those types of things, but they would be very small. One of the things I think is very important to understand is that both Mr. Bruce Verge and his wife and or his 2 daughters would be the ones that would manage this. This isn't some outside facility. This isn't some corporate group out of California. These are people that are here, live in Monroe. They have one facility already. This would just simply be something that would allow Newton County to have the same type of event facility that they have out in Walton County. Now, I don't know if anybody's driven by there in the last year. If you go back a year, this place was dilapidated. It had not been taken care of in a long time. Mr. Verge and his family bought this property in March of 2023, and at that time he went to work. And part of the things he went to work with is making sure that the outside of that house represented what he wanted to do on the inside and what he wanted to do for this community. If you drive by there, it looks like a golf course, and that's the intent for Mr. Verge and his family to keep it that way. There's approximately 50 acres that is there on this property. This is the type of property that's around there. There's horse farms. There's just big pieces of property, 50 acres, 100 acres, 220 acres that are around this property. Mr. Verge wants to keep it that way. He wants to keep it at the 50-acre level. There's no intent to subdivide it. He just simply wants to prevent this from going into the wrong hands to turn into something this community does not want it to be. So at this particular moment, what my client and certainly Mr. Verge is wanting to do is provide something for the community that doesn't take away from the community. There's not going to be any infrastructure that has to be done. He's going to provide something that anybody, any one of you, anybody in this audience can take and use this property based upon the conditions.
Competition is not always a bad thing, and therefore I am in favor of this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Debbie Harper, president of the Newton Chamber. I've had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Verge and tour the property, and I cannot say enough about what an asset this would be, not only to our business community, but our community itself and the quality of life we want to maintain here in Newton County. So I would ask that you all support this. As was mentioned earlier, they do operate a similar venue in Walton County that has been very successful over the past 4 years. I've also talked with the chamber president in Walton County, and they've been a great friend. She's confirmed they've been a great friend to the community. So again, I would ask that you support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. We're going to save that 507, Brian. We also allow 10 minutes for those that would like to oppose tonight. You may come at this time. Anyone would like to oppose tonight, you have 10 minutes to do so. You may come at this time. Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Thank you, Ms. Applewhite. I think this is in District 5. Commissioner Cowan. Commissioner Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve the conditional use permit 24-000005 for a event facility on this property, subject to amendments to the noise and music ordinance to make sure that they comply with the local noise ordinance that the county has.
So let's clarify before we get a second. Ms. Applewhite, can you clarify that noise ordinance, please?
Commissioner Cohen, are you referring to the condition 4?
Yeah,
So
with the
we're
condition he
allowing-
mentioned.
So we're allowing live bands and outdoor music is?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, Commissioner.
Before you move on, is your motion subject to the other or the 13 conditions with the one modification to Exhibit 4?
Yes. All the conditions as they are with the modification as Mr. Waters mentioned.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Edwards. It's a motion by Commissioner Cowan, and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Commissioner Edwards and then Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, when we all thought this was District 1, several months ago, I had the opportunity to tour this facility, and as Mr. Waters stated, this was a Kimball place at one time, and I kind of grew up on this particular farm, and I know, so it holds a special place in my heart, but I pass it twice a day, and I know what it looked like a year and a half ago. And I know what it looks like now, and I know what it looked like 6 days after Mr. Verge bought it. So it was an amazing transition. It's needed by the community, as it's been stated ad nauseum almost. But I think it'd be a wonderful addition to our community. And let me add, the citizens of District 1, which is right across the road, that have reached out to me have all had positive feedback on this facility, very positive feedback on this facility. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Well, you know, that's a very beautiful building, and I think the citizens all over Newton County really do appreciate it, and we're very thankful for it being in Newton County. And I just want to say something. You know, over the years, I've had the pleasure of knowing Mr. Waters' dad, and I'm gonna tell you, man, you look more and more just like your dad, which you should. And I'm just thankful to be old enough to remember that. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor? Commissioner Sanders?
Aye.
Thank you. It passes 5-0. Thank you. Ms. Applewhite.
Thank you, Chairman.
Oh, wow. Thank you, sir. You too. Ms. Applewhite.
Our next petition is a modification. It is MOD 24-00001. The proposal is to modify the conditions of zoning case REZ 07-022 to remove condition number 3J. The existing zoning is general commercial. It's located in Salem Tier 3 overlay. The address is 3600 Salem Road. The size of the parcel is 1.34 acres, tax ID 13-49A. This is in Commissioner District 2. Current owner is Land Investments LP in care of Thompson Duvenant AZ, Arizona, I guess, yeah. The petitioner and the representative is Eddie Eubanks. Now, the applicant's intent is to modify the conditions of zoning for a rezoning that took place in 2007, which is REZ 07022, to remove condition 3J, which reads the transitional buffers along the east property line shall be 50 feet in width. No variance to the buffer width shall be allowed, and the buffer shall be planted as approved by the county arborist. So this is the condition that was put in place back in 2007 when this development first came on board. This is the auto zone that is located in front of the Westfield subdivision at the corner of Salem and Kirkland Road. So it's right next door to the Kroger. So the purpose, on September 18, 2007, Crim Development, Inc., they sought to develop a retail space with up to 6 tenants and a drive-through restaurant at a maximum density square of 8,663 0.77 square feet per acre, for a total of 26,000 square feet. So the BOC, or the Board of Commissioners, approved this petition with conditions at the time. Today, the retail center was not built, only the auto zone was built, and that space is largely still vacant. It's undeveloped land. However, it has now been incorporated into the mixed-use development of Westfield. So it forms the commercial portion of that Westfield development. So this area here is still going to be slated just for commercial development. GDOT is currently acquiring right-of-way to widen the Salem Road, and it has impacted this property. So they'll be losing an entire row of parking, which is right adjacent to Salem Road. And they are proposing to relocate the parking on the east side of the property where the 50-foot buffer is. So the existing condition to be modified, which is 3 and then J. So to the owner's agreement to abide by the following development standards. So J, transitional buffers along the east property line shall be 50 feet in width. And then again, no variance to the buffer shall be allowed, and the buffer shall be planted as approved by the county arborist. And they're proposing a condition below to modify the conditions of zoning to reduce stipulation number 3J to 25 feet for the buffer on the eastern boundary. So they're just asking to reduce the buffer by half. These are the minutes that were taken from the BOC meeting back in 2007. This is included in your packet, so I won't read through everything. I'm just going to go down to the conditions. So we have condition 1A and B, so we have C, and then we have condition 2, and we are at condition 3, and then J, which I have highlighted here. So this is the condition we are seeking to modify to reduce the buffer to 25 feet. This is a concept plan that was presented back in 2007 for the rezoning at the time. So we have the Kroger shopping center here, the shopping mall here. This is the auto zone parcel at the corner here. This is now Westfield, the mixed-use development. And of course, we've got the Salem campground to the south there. This was the plan that was presented back then. Clearly, that was not built. It's just the auto zone is there now. And this is the area of what it looks like right now. So we're in this corner here, and the buffer is this buffer here that we're looking at. So the current zoning is the commercial zoning we have here. Just this stripper, again, all of this here is what is going to be commercial as part of the mixed-use development for this entire development here. And of course, it's in Salem Overlay Tier 3, which is the town center. It straddles 2 watersheds, South River and Yellow River. And of course, it's located in Commissioner District 2. So this is just a close-up area. So GDOT will be widening and acquiring, this row of parking here. They're proposing to relocate it behind on this side here. And this is the concept plan that they're proposing. This is the line up to where the Salem Road will be, the right-of-way will come up to here. So it's clearly impacting their parking lot here. And this is a row of parking that they're proposing back here, reducing the buffer in half. And this is just another version of it showing the 25-foot, new buffer. And of course, the row of parking that GDOT will be taking up front here. And in conclusion, the property is part of the original mixed-use development of Westfield. The parcel adjacent to the east has been slated for commercial build-out according to the Westfield Mixed-Use Development Master Plan. A reduction of the buffer is a reasonable request and does not violate the Salem overlay requirements. Should the Board of Commissioners recommend approval or approve the modification to condition 3J of the 2007 rezoning petition, staff recommends the following conditions be applied to the property. And again, for the recommended conditions, should the modification petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved conditional, subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where this condition conflicts with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. So the first condition would be to the owner's agreement to abide by the following development standards and regulation. A, condition 3J from the REZ 07022. Shall be modified so as to reduce the transitional buffer to 25 feet. And B, all other conditions of the original application, the original rezonings dated September 18, 2007, that was approved by the board shall still apply. And if there are any questions for staff?
Thank you so much. It is approximately 8:10. We're going to open up our public hearing tonight. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight, you may come this time. You have 10 minutes to do so. The applicant and those in favor, please state your name and your address for the record, please.
My name's Eddie Eubanks. I represent Barrett Simpson and Civil Engineering Surveying, which is our services, which is doing the development for AutoZone. And they hired us to do the surveying, which, they're in Tennessee. So they asked me to represent this. Ms. Applewhite pretty much told the problem. GDOT took half the parking lot, and they just need to extend the parking lot and be able to get their trucks around the backside of the building.
Thank you, sir. You'd like to say the rest of your time?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Brian, I want to say that time. We also open it up for those that would like to oppose tonight. You have 10 minutes to do so. You may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Anyone would like to oppose tonight, Ms. Applewhite? I think this is in District 2. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just to clarify, this is because the widening of Salem Road that is going to be taking place, they're losing some of their parking in the front of the AutoZone. So because of that, that right-of-way has been taken away. So now they want to add that additional parking behind, and we want to make a modification to the buffer, which was 50 feet. Now we want to do it to 25. Is that correct? Okay. So with that being said, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve modification MOD 24-000001.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second, please? Second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Sanders.
Aye.
Thank you so much. It passes it passes 5-0. Thanks.
And Chairman, our final item this evening is also a public hearing. This is our capital improvements element update. We were here in April where we presented this update as well as our CIE and short-term work program update, annual update. The annual update is currently under review by the DCA. For the capital improvement element, this is a document where we were, the large document in your packets, where we kind of did an overhaul of our impact fee ordinance, of course, the capital improvements program, as well as to add departments and so on. This is what this is. This was also submitted to Northeast Georgia Regional Commission. However, they gave us comments back. They wanted this advertised using specific language, and they also wanted it under a separate resolution. So this is why we are here today, where we have a new resolution for it, and we have included the language that they are looking for in the legal ad when we advertised it. I do have Mr. Ross here in case we have any questions. This is the same presentation we have. It will be a public hearing, so if the board wishes, I can go through this presentation again, or we can open up the floor for the public if they had any questions. It's been on our website since April, as requested for anyone to view and to review at that time.
I think it's important. I think it's important that we inform the board what changes that they wanted in the language.
It was a language to the legal ad.
Okay.
So we had used the two. We combined this report as well as the annual update together as one, and they wanted it separated. So this legal ad now just reads. It was an advertisement for the CIE update.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then we created a new resolution for it, which was the second request that they had.
Okay. Well, we'll open it up for a public hearing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we are the applicant. So we're going to open it up for 10 minutes for those that would like to speak in favor tonight. Those that would like to speak in favor tonight. Anyone would like to speak in favor tonight? Anyone would like to speak in favor tonight? Thank you. That portion of our public hearing is closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those that would like to oppose tonight. If you may come at this time, state your name and address for the record, please. Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Thank you. That portion of our public hearing is closed. Ms. Applewhite.
Thank you, Chairman. And again, this vote is to approve the transmittal up to DCA, to Northeast Georgia, and then DCA.
Thank you. I'll take a motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Sanders?
Aye.
Thank you so much. It passed 5-0.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go back now to the Chairman's report. Ms. Hughes, if you would please come on back up. Pastor, if you would please come on back up.
I'm happy to give the rest of our time to the other groups that want to present.
Well, you can come out and give your closing statement if you would like.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Board. So we'll have Kevin to come back up and finish up with Oxford Baptist Church, and then we'll have Building Strong Futures, and then 4-H. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I apologize that we had to cut you off, but at 7:30 we have to go directly into zoning.
That's
and
not a
so
problem at all. I just wanted to close just by saying that as a pastor and at Oxford Baptist Church, we want you guys to know, as members of the Board of Commissioners, present and future, understand there's elections that are coming on. You have a friend in us. You have an honest friend. You have a lovingly critical friend. And when needed, and support, in whatever we can do to help each other to build our community. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for the partnership, sir. Ms. Hughes.
Okay, we'll hear now from Building Strong Futures. If you guys can come up, please. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Kirsty Harvey, and this is Nick Jones, and we are both board members for Building Strong Futures. Building Strong Futures is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are committed to empowering youth through an enrichment program, which consists of leadership training, a career workshop, and an annual college tour. We primarily serve teenagers in East Metro Atlanta. However, our reach spans across the nation, with participants from states including Texas and North Carolina as well.
In some of our programs and annual fundraisers, we have an annual college tour, our career workshops for our students. We have an annual BSF golf tour and our annual BSF gala, where we recognize community leaders here in the community. The funds that we receive from the grant help to offset the cost of our 2023 Georgia College Tour, which included the following colleges and universities: Savannah State University, Georgia Southern University, Valdosta State University, Albany State University, Fort Valley State University, along with a cultural outing to the historical Savannah Waterfront District. Here's a quick preview of what our program entails and what the resources were allocated for our participants to become college and career ready. Alongside of that, we had 98% of our students are college or have attended a college or university, and the 2% have gone to the military. Here's a video.
Very special blessing for Building Strong Futures. Lord, continue to bless them, continue to give them resources, continue to send children their way to their lives, to be enriched and better. Lord, all these things we pray in your son Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
I worked too hard for this. Look, I don't look like what I've been through, amen. When I ain't have outside money, I stayed in. When hard times showed up, I could've caved in. But mama didn't raise a loser, I played a win. I've been through a lot of drama, but it never broke me. Now I'm happier than ever, ask the ones who know me. People swear they be so loyal, I just tell them show me. Sometime they in, sometime they out, this ain't hokey pokey. Smiling from the inside, I be glowing. Had to learn to trust my gut, I be knowing. Don't poke no bad vibes around me, I be towing. Did you my harvest from the seeds I've been sowing?
It's the same God, different day, whether hidden in the hills or the hood around the way. If we focus on the good, trying to get it, I'm the lay say, ayy. I'm not giving up my happy. Ain't up for discussion, don't at me. All that negativity won't pass me. We going high tonight, up to the sky tonight. I'm not giving up my happy. Ain't up for discussion, don't at me. All that other stuff can walk past me. We going high tonight, up to the sky tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for this opportunity that y'all are providing for the youth in this community. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. And the last presentation is from our 4-H Extension Office. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
I heard your birthday was on May 6th.
It is. I twin with you. Happy
Yeah.
birthday. Happy late birthday. So good evening. You have to bear with me. I have bronchitis, so here we are. I'm Charlene Scott. I'm the 4-H agent here in Newton County, and I'm excited to share with you guys what the ARPA grant has done for Newton County 4-H. And I have targeted the ARPA grant specifically around BEAMS, which stands for Building Education Around Mental Services. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. If you were not aware, you are now. So we have taken this money and used it to directly impact the youth in Newton County. So we have hosted, or we are hosting 4 community events. We have had 2 of them. These events are targeted for youth in 6th through 12th grade. It's kind of a mini conference for them. They get to come, have dinner and an activity. They have an opening ceremony. We do have a parent session. The last event, it was actually offered in Spanish as well for our Spanish-speaking community. We have student sessions that youth can choose from, and then we had a closing ceremony from a speaker who inspired hope for the youth. On site, while we are talking about these lessons, or while we are talking about mental health, we do have certified therapists and youth mental health first aiders in case any youth on site identify that they need help that night. We don't want to leave them in a bad place. So one of our youth was quoted saying, "It is a fun event where you can learn more about mental health and learn how to cope with your emotions you feel on a daily basis." The next thing that we are putting the money towards is youth mental health first aid training. I officially am an instructor certified to be able to provide these trainings here in Newton County. We do have an employee training coming up that you are all invited to. I'm working with risk management and the HR department on June 13th for county employees. So we're specifically targeting those employees that work with youth in any capacity and also work with the county. So it is a free training open to the county as well as our county employees. And then we will have a community training September 14th, and registration will open for that in the fall. So youth mental health first aid is really just like your CPR first aid certified or lifeguard certified. It helps you identify how to help a child who's in need or a young person who is in need, and not necessarily solve their problems right then, but get them to the people that can solve their problems. And then lastly, we use the money to offset the cost of 4-H events and activities. So Newton County 4-H hosts opportunities here for kindergarten through 12th grade, which we're super proud of adding kindergarten through 3rd grade this year. So we host local events, district events, and state events. And so we're helping offset some of those costs, being able to bring the cost of summer camp and other activities here locally and get our Newton County youth outside of Newton County to see what else is there for them to engage in and to participate in. So just as a reminder, it is free to join Newton County 4-H. So all you have to do is complete an enrollment card, and we cater K through 12.
Thank you so much. 4-H is, as we know, growing by leaps and bounds, and we're just so thankful for all that you're doing to help the kids with that. Thank you so much. Our next in the chair's report, the Miracle League. Guys, if y'all will come on up. Miracle League is, this is a great organization. That does so much positive stuff. So guys, thank y'all for being here tonight.
Thank you, Mr.
wanna
Chairman.
kick it off, sir? Yes, sir.
Thank you for giving us a little time. We're about 6 months away from our All-Star Weekend event, and we want to come and share a little bit tonight real quick, and Mike's going to give you an update on where we're at. I'd like to introduce Keisha Morrow. Keisha is our Therapeutic Recreation Coordinator.
Welcome.
She came on board in October, and I think you'll see a lot of new programs that she's got coming up in the very near future for my special needs community, and very exciting there. But yeah, we're 6 months away. Registration ended, I think, last week or two. Registration went through the national office. We have 112 families that will be coming to Newton County the weekend of October 4th, 5th, and 6th. We're going to kick things off right here on the square that Friday night. We're going to feed them. We've got games. We got a band, parade of the athletes, and hopefully one or two more things if everything works out. We'll be at City Pond most of the day Saturday playing games, and then Saturday night we will wrap up at Turner Lake with a banquet, a big dance for the kids, and have a big evening there. What we'd like to do right quick, we're going to show you a quick video. We had to have a video made that Fuel helped us with when we went to Palm Beach to accept this year's event, so y'all watch this.
Baseball is America's favorite pastime. Children and adults alike grab their gloves and hit the diamond across the country to play this beloved game. But for some, this isn't an option. For many years, children and adults facing serious physical and mental challenges didn't have a way or a place to play the game until the Miracle League made the impossible possible. And it all started right here in Georgia. Since April of 2000, the Miracle League has been removing barriers and giving access to athletes of all ability levels, affording them the opportunity to play baseball and enjoy something so very special with their teammates, families, friends, and their communities.
Yeah, for me personally, it means more than just, an event or an organization. And I have children that have played in the Miracle League. I have one child playing now, and to be able to get out and interact with her and have fun and see her laughter is huge, because there's no program around that could help her with this. And so it's just full of joy and gratitude for this.
I think there's something about Miracle League baseball. The joy surrounding it is not only infectious, but it sticks with you, and you can't wait to come back the next Saturday. And now the Miracle League All-Star Game is coming back to Georgia, where it all started over 20 years ago. In 2024, City Pond Park Complex in Covington, Georgia, will host players from across the country as they compete in this exciting event.
Our field here at City Pond is purposely built for children with special needs to play on. It is state of the art. I mean, it's set up, everything is handicap accessible, ADA, meets all the requirements, no trip hazards. We've got world-class facilities, and we built it this way back in 2015 thanks to our community.
Covington is located in Newton County, Georgia, and is home to an inviting community full of good food, art, film, and music. Known as the Hollywood of the South, Covington is also home to some well-known vampires and dukes. It's a popular destination for visiting famous locations and sets from TV and film, either on the trolley or on a self-guided walking tour. Newton County is home to amazing recreation options as well. We have over 20 miles of interconnected trail systems, golf courses, disc golf, lakes, and rivers. State and local parks and wildlife preserves are within a short drive of our historic Covington Town Square.
Hey guys, Colin McHugh here. Hey, Georgia does baseball best, so it's no surprise the Miracle League All-Stars are coming to Georgia in 2024. Don't miss your chance to get in on the action and cheer on these inspiring ball players. Come be a part of the Miracle.
We want to invite you to come join us as we gather together to cheer on and support these awesome and inspiring athletes. Be a buddy, a supporter, a volunteer, or be one of our amazing diehard fans at the 2024 Miracle League All-Star Game at City Pond Park Complex in Newton County, Georgia, home of the Miracle League. Come be a part of the miracle with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for allowing us to come here with this great event. We're keeping everything local.
As Dwayne said, we got 112 families coming. They're going to come here on Friday morning. They'll stay with us through Sunday morning. We'll put them up in hotels. Our local area hotels have been very gracious to us and helping us out with the rates, and all our vendors are local. But we do have a big budget. I mean, the sections get the players here. They're coming from Puerto Rico, Mexico, all across the United States. But we're responsible for when they get here. And so right now we're at about 50% of our budget on fundraising. We just had an event Saturday to APCU, Atlanta Postal Credit Union donated $50,000 to the Miracle League event. And we had a great day there Saturday representing that. And so we need some more funding. So we've been everywhere. We've been to Rotary, Kiwanis, and other commercial industries. We're working with economic development along with the chamber to try to finish raising this money. So we really want to make sure that we're able to do this. And it will be a big event. This is not just for the families. We hope Friday night when we close the square down and have food trucks, drones or fireworks or whatever we're working to here, and parades for the athletes, that the community would turn out. We really think this will be a unifying event and be something to really look forward to this coming October. I want to allow Keisha Morrow to talk a little bit about contacting some of the families and what it takes. As a father of 3 special needs children, flying was always an issue, always a challenge, and getting people transported is a big deal. So I'll let you share, Keisha.
Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you. It is such an honor to be before you. I thank you so much for this opportunity. Especially this week, I know the county is honoring diversity among our county employees, and the Miracle League is very diverse. It is a community, it serves a community that is sometimes overlooked and underserved, our special needs community. So it is very important that we have the support of our county while we're doing this event. As Mike said, many of these families, we're fortunate, a lot of us, that we can travel whenever we want, and it's not too much of a big deal. However, these families, it is not as easy to hop on a plane or get in a car if you have a child that has special needs, and it may not be a possibility for you. I spoke with a family last week, and it was just, it just touched my heart, because this family is coming from Corpus Christi, Texas, and they were so excited. It was a family of 5, and they have never, ever been able to travel outside of Corpus Christi. And they were so excited for this opportunity. They were having, they're planning on having chicken dinners so that they can raise enough money to celebrate for the player's birthday, because they've heard about our great aquarium, you know, that's in Atlanta, and they want to come and experience that. The joy and the excitement. I was on speakerphone, and the whole family was just so excited. And it truly reiterates how special and how important that it is for Newton County to have this honor, to host these families. And we get the privilege and the honor, a part of our reasonable service to others that are, you know, not as fortunate to be able to do these things. So as Mike said, we're about 50% on our budget, and we want to our city is known for the Hollywood of the South, and we want to lay out the red carpet and to serve these families that are sometimes overlooked and underserved. But we want, you know, our moniker is One Newton, and we want to be inclusive to all members of our community. I thank you so much, and that you will just consider. And we also have room for the BOC as buddies. We would love to have y'all to come out on that Saturday. Newton government, and just come out and show support for these wonderful, deserving, determined athletes. You couldn't pick anybody else better. And I just want to thank you for that.
A couple of questions before you go. How do we become buddies? Where do we donate at? And 'cause I think the board agreed to make a donation to this event. I'm not sure exactly what we agreed to make a donation of, how much. Can you tell me what the city of Covington donated? So the city of Covington donated how much? 25,000. Okay. Okay.
But we know the county can exceed that.
I hear you. It's a lot of pressure. I'm not exactly sure. I would have to get with the clerk to find out what we agreed to, if we already agreed to anything. But not, I will make sure that the board get opportunity to discuss this, and we'll see what amount we can donate. That sounds good?
Sounds great.
And but also, I would like to make this challenge to the board. Y'all, let's become a buddy. Let's see how we can become a buddy and be a part of the program. I think this is a great event.
It is.
I just leave it right there. I think this is a great event. Yep. Yep. Any questions? Any questions? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members, and residents of the community. I come before you today with the county manager's report. But before I start, I want to give a huge shout out to Ms. Frida Reed and Ms. Williams, who are in the audience tonight, for a great chairman, mayor, senior walk on Friday. You guys did a tremendous job. Thank you for everything that you do. Now for the county manager's report. The 3 Ps are steadily at work, and we're going to talk about processes this evening, and in particular, processes associated with a hot button topic. Working together works, and working in collaboration is key. And I can honestly say our Newton County Water Resource Department, as well as the Water and Sewage Authority and other entities, work closely together. And we have about 8 entities that we provide service to and that we work in conjunction with. And they are as follows: Alcovey Shores Water and Sewage Authority, City of Covington, City of Mansfield, City of Oxford, City of Porterdale, Jasper County Water and Sewage Authority, Town of New Bern, and Walton County. I'd also be remiss if I continue with this report without thanking Commissioner Henderson for the April 23rd Town Hall. I want to thank you for it. It was very informative, and it was definitely a hot button concern that you raised in reference to the forever chemicals, as they're so commonly called. So in reference to forever chemicals, our Water Resource Department, as well as the Department of Agriculture, have been working diligently to address this matter, along with some local entities as well. So the bottom line is simple. The water in Newton County is safe. Let's talk about the concerns that were raised. The PFAs, as we talked about, the forever chemicals. They're long-lasting chemicals, and they have components that breaks down slowly over time. And there are thousands of PFAs. And where do we find these PFAs? It's not just in our water. You can find them in consumer and commercial and industrial products as well. So, in reference to the chemicals in association with this county, testing began in 2023 at 4 of the locations, but prior to that, there was some testing done in 2021 at William Street Water Treatment Plant. But when we talk about the testing in 2023, 3 of the treatment centers had no detection of any forever chemicals. William Street Water Treatment did. And the forever chemicals were the PFBA, the PFP, and the PFH. And I'm going to have some scholarly practitioners come up in just a second and tell you what those acronyms mean. But they were in parts per trillion. So to equate this from a financial standpoint, the amount that was found in our William Street location was maybe a penny to the grand total of $10 billion, if you looked at it in terms of finance. A very diminished amount, right? But it's still a concern, and again, that's why the town hall was needed. William Street on the whole accounts for 1% of the overall water supply in Newton County. As I stated earlier, there were levels of PFAs detected. Our Water Resource Department, in collaboration with Mike Hopkins and his team, have been working diligently to get the plant decommissioned. And currently, we're at a stage where we're waiting for the Environmental Protection Division to fully decommission the site. So there are some frequently asked questions. There were some questions that was even posed at the town hall. Again, I'm going to reiterate, the water is safe, but I'm going to let scholarly practitioners come before you all and speak specifically to that. But there was forever chemicals found in our William Street facility. What is Newton County doing to remove it? As we stated, or as I stated, we're looking to decommission that water plant. And also, keep in mind, our treated water from the Williams facility has been blended with our Cornish Creek facility to further lower the risk of the forever chemicals. So again, we're working diligently to resolve this matter. What is the source of the issue? As I stated earlier, forever chemicals can be found in a number of things. Agriculture, textile mills, paper mills, airports, and metal finishers are just a couple things to name in which these chemicals could be found in. Now, I'm going to ask that Mr. Hopkins and Mr. Bobby Snipes of our Water Resource Department supervisor come and speak specifically to the forever chemicals, what was found, how we're treating it, and to alleviate, hopefully, any fear of our residents.
Good evening, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Right on point with the presentation. You know, we believe, as the largest wholesale water customer of the Newton County Water Resources, that there should be no PFAS in our water. But unfortunately, we did find some detected. They are a very minute amount there, and immediately we started working with Water Resources in the city of Covington to decommission the City Pond Reservoir and William Street Water Treatment Plant, which was constructed in 1947. As you mentioned, it'd be real simple if PFAS was only in drinking water, but when it's in makeup, dental floss, toothpaste, it's in a whole host of things, Scotch-guarded furniture, Teflon, cooking ware, things like that. The federal government, EPA, when they released their findings as far as maximum contaminant levels, they also offered up $1 billion a year for the 59,000 water systems in the United States. To date, there are about 5,000 systems that has PFAS there. That averages out to about $172,000 in remediation costs there, which would not even buy the Water and Sewer Authority a mile of this minimum pipe size. So not a whole lot of money there. I think the projected cost to solve all the issues that we're talking about in PFAS across the country is about $1.5 billion annually. So a lot of money, a big problem. Commissioner Henderson talked about a test. It'd be great if we could find a test that we could do with the blood. You can but it will not detect and tell where it came from, whether it was from drinking water, pesticides in our food, gum wrappers, or toothpaste, or whatever. And so we, as the largest water system, water customer of the Newton County Water Resources, do want this removed, and we are working hand in hand with Newton County to do just that. And I'll let Bobby has got some more chemistry details here, but we are strongly working to remove this situation.
Good evening. I don't want to bore you guys with a bunch of numbers, but I'm a numbers guy and one of those boring chemistry kind of guys. On April 10th, less than a month ago, the EPA set limits on 5 of the PFAS chemicals. We did not have detection of any of those 5. If you do research, you'll find them sometimes called the notorious 5. We have none of that in our water, even at William Street. We did have 3 substances detected in small amounts. The most we had on any single test was 15 parts per trillion. And I've been in water since 1977, 47 years, and we've never had testing that had to be done in parts per trillion. It's a first for me. It's usually in parts per million. And Mr. Cooper explained how minute amounts that is, but I don't want to minimize it. We want it to be 0. And we're working toward that. Cornish Creek, the Lake Varner, well-protected watershed there, had no detection. We don't anticipate it having any detection in the future. But as coming up, there will be required testing at all facilities. So that will be tested on a regular basis from this point forward as EPA mandated. The sites that we had on the 2023 testing were mandated by the EPA. We did not pick these sites. These 4 sites were given to us by the Environmental Protection Agency. And as I said, we had 3 of the substances that were shown at the William Street facility in some of the quarters. They weren't even shown in all the quarters. This was quarterly testing every 3 months in 2023, starting in February. And we did have some small amounts of those 3 chemicals, PFBA, PFPEA, and PFHXA. And if you do a little research on that, you'll see why we use initials, because all those words are about that long. They're actually per and polyfluorinated alkali substances. That's PFAS. And they're all they're man-made chemicals, as Mr. Cooper and Mike alluded to. But we are working to decommission that plant. As Mr. Cooper said, we're waiting on EPD. They have it for review right now, and hopefully it will not be very long. We'll be able to decommission that plant, and that should take care of the problem.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes.
Thank you. I guess the question, well, first of all, I did have I call it a town hall church meeting. It turned into I guess some kind of forum / it was just merely to talk to the people in my district, to tell them about trying to help them with a road that people have actually got killed on. And we talked about water too as well. I'm just going to say this. It's in the water. You can say it's trillions of this, trillions of that. We understand that. And we probably can drink it. But what I do know is there's a test that I just asked this Board of Commissioners, say, hey, look here, let's make the test available to our citizens so that they can test their blood to see how much PFAS, forever chemicals, is in our bodies. I think Mike, Mr. Hopkins, you said at that meeting at the church, you said that if I were to be tested now, you find all in my blood. You find in my blood. I think the citizens of Newton County deserve to know what's in our bodies. And they should be available to us. And I checked, and I couldn't find them nowhere. And I think that's a disservice to the citizens of Newton County, us who drank the water for a long time. We don't know how long that's been in there. We just didn't start testing. And the reason why we start testing, because the President of the United States, Joe Biden, is sending money all over the country to set up standards for that. That's just common sense, y'all, to make sure that our people are taken care of. Cancer is a bad word, and especially for us old folks. So I don't know where you're coming from, what you're thinking about, but let's make those tests available. Let them find out for themselves if they want to take it. I know I do, and I can't find one nowhere in New County. So you say all about them tell me to drink it all you want to, but until I can find a test to show me that there's nothing in my body, in my blood, that with PFAS in it. And one other thing I just want to say about PFAS, we got a lot of these old companies around here, plants, billion-dollar plants, rich plants, and they're just getting old, and a lot of stuff that they used to do, and they're affecting us now. They were good when they first came in, but they're self-reporting. We don't know what's coming from those plants. We don't know what's coming out of those big old things up in the air. But what we do know is that we as people, I know I do, I can't speak for everybody else, but I can speak hopefully for people that I represent, is that we need to be looked out for. It need to be open. We can't keep stuff like this being closed. We need to look out for ourselves. And the only way to look out for ourselves is to get that testing, blood testing, so we can test for ourselves. And I think our Board of Commissioners, with all this money we got, that we give to everybody, that we can give away tests to our citizens to make sure they're safe. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Snipes, you mentioned, was it 77 parts per trillion? What was it?
What's that? No, it was the highest number we had was 15 parts per trillion.
15 parts per trillion. Yeah. So, in your opinion, it's more unhealthy to breathe the air in this room than it is to drink the water, even from William Street. Is that correct?
I'm going to leave that opinion to anyone else. I don't want, but you're probably right, but I don't.
Okay. So
I don't want to go into that.
But this toxin, PFAS, is found in our toothpaste, right? It's found in our detergents.
Carpet,
boxes,
carpet,
candy wrappers,
furniture.
Okay, but it's probably found at a higher parts per whatever that ratio may be, and those products than it would be our drinking water, even from William Street, correct?
Again, I'm not expert on that. I don't. But
that's all right. That's okay.
I do want to respond to Commissioner Henderson about tests. Not at this moment in time to find tests. And if you found a test with all the amount of PFAS there, it would not point to specifically to water, to pizza boxes, to dental floss. It's not able to do, we're not able to do that now. That's not kicking the can down the road. It's just, it's not available. And so for us, this William Street the plant is going to be decommissioned. That removes any issue that we have. The city of Rome, with the carpet mills up there, had to stop treating water there and spent over $100 million building a brand new plant that could take the PFAS out of the water system up there. A lot greater problem we have. I'm not minimizing. I'm with Bobby. I don't want it. I drink it every day, still drink it every day, and I probably do have PFAS because I was the head dishwasher at my house with Teflon cookware and Scotch Guard on the carpets and everything else in the clothes we wore. So I'm just, making that statement.
Yeah. I grew up in Covington as well, there on Elizabeth Street, and I drank William Street water my whole life. So we both did. Mike and I are both Covington fellows.
Thank you. Commissioner Mason, Commissioner Sanders next, and then Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you both for your presentation on today. And thank you for kind of sharing the data and the information that you have. I think sometimes we as a board, we take on things that we probably shouldn't. We aren't subject matter experts in every single thing. I think it is important, and I want to encourage my colleagues to let's stay in our lane. Let's stay doing the business of the county that we're supposed to do. Let's work on roads. Let's work on bridges. Let's work on recreation. Let's work on those type of things versus us trying to take on responsibilities of the medical field. Commissioner Henderson just said, you all are not doctors. Guess what? None of the board up here, we're not doctors. And so I think sometimes we try to move into areas that we should not. And so this is not something that this board should be providing tests for. We have a hospital, we have medical doctors, we have physicians, we have those subject matter experts that can do testing or find testing or that can. So I want to encourage this board, let's allow the medical field to actually focus on testing versus the board trying to take on responsibilities of doing something that really isn't what we do. And so I want to encourage this board, let's just stay in our lane. Let's focus on the things that we do best. And that's the business of the county, not the medical field. Yes, this is an important issue. And thank you, Mr. Cooper, for providing us with data, providing us with information. Thank you all once again. But I really believe that we should leave this particular subject matter up to the medical field to find testing, which is what they do. Anytime there's any issues from a physical perspective, that's what a doctor will do, not a county commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Sanders.
Yes. Yes. First, let me state this. If you look in your county handbook, it talks about public safety and what commissioners are supposed to be doing in regards to safety. So the commissioners are the front line to the people. So the people are going to be the first ones to come to us with their comments and concerns. So as commissioners, it is our job for those who voted us in and that we represent to also care about their well-being and health as well. So I don't have an issue with a commissioner being concerned about their constituents, especially if things have happened in the past. That's why the people were brought to us the answer. So kudos, Commissioner Henderson, for having that forum, and thank you so much for caring about the people of Newton County. And the reason why I state that, because my father contracted cancer from water, from consumption from over years of drinking the water. So that's why I'm also concerned, and that is an issue. He had multiple myeloma, and it came, it's a rare cancer, and the doctors tested him was from the water that he was drinking in our area. So that's why I'm concerned. So thank you, Commissioner Henderson, for bringing this up. And I also want to state that if you Google this, and it's on Atlanta First, they did it on the news, Emory University now is testing people's blood for the forever chemical. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Henderson.
I guess just want to kind of just close, I guess, with this. And I don't care what nobody say. If I know it's something that's gonna affect the citizens of Newton County, hey, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna talk about it, and to the best of my ability, I'm gonna try to get something done. At least at the end of the day, if you do get sick or whatever the case may be, you won't run around and say, "Oh, Commissioner Henderson, he didn't say nothing. Did nobody tell us nothing?" So now you know. You know that there's testing available, and there's no reason that there shouldn't be testing out there for our citizens. And to speak on the part about doctors, we hire so many consultants on this board for everything. Why can't we hire a doctor consultant commissioner to tell us, give us the information as far as about how effective would a test be for our blood, for the forever chemical that's in our water? You can close your eyes on it, but it's in there. Our water expert up there at the water plant in Newton County, he stood here and we were talking. He said it was in it, and didn't nobody hear it but me. I said, let's talk about it. Didn't nobody want to talk about it but me. And you vote me down on talking about it. Hey, I love my people. I love my Republicans. I love my Democrats. I love my independents. But this is a community problem that we need to really find out what the problem is. And no matter what they say or how many trees of this in the water, it's in our water, Mr. Cooper. It's in our water. And it need to be addressed. And we need to help our people. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think sometimes this board, we pick and choose what we want out of the handbook. We say, oh, this justifies my response. So yes, let's push this particular issue because it's in the handbook. But there are some things that are in the handbook that we overlook. We don't see, we don't review. So we pick and choose what we want. I want to answer Commissioner Henderson's question. The consultants that we bring on are consultants that can help us address county business and not medical profession business. So there is a difference. And so yes, we do bring on consultants because we're not subject matter experts on a lot of these areas. And so we need subject matter experts to come to us, provide us with the data, provide us with the information so that we can make an intelligent business decision. And so that's why we bring consultants. We're not bringing consultants on that's actually having us to make decisions on something that's not relative to the work that we do. So the consultants that we bring on basically is relative to the work that we do. I think it is great to inform our residents. I think every single commissioner up here, we do care about our residents. We do want to inform our residents. So please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we shouldn't inform, but I think once it is an area where we see we're not the subject matter experts, what we should do as a board from an intelligent perspective is to pull in the subject matter expert that can address that concern. So I think if the board wants to address that, we should reach out to Piedmont. We should reach out to our medical professionals and say, hey, let's find a way to partner. You all are the subject matter experts in the medical field. Let's find a way where we can partner. Is there anything that this board can do to help you further testing for PFAs? Is there something that this board can do, you know, maybe from a financial investment perspective to give into you to be able to help further that? But I don't think that that is something that the board should take on themselves. Let's find partners to help us where we can actually invest in and let the subject matter experts do their work where we do the subject matter experts in doing the county business. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Cooper.
I'd just like to add the Georgia Department of Public Health does not recommend getting the PFAS blood testing at this particular time. I'll provide this board with that documentation.
Thank you, sir. Anything else, sir? On that one?
That concludes my report.
Okay. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for giving us an update.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it. Ms. Ham.
Chairman, the item that we have on the agenda is item number 9, the consent agenda.
Guys, I seek a motion that we approve the consent agenda, please.
So moved.
Can I get a second? Been motion by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Sanders,
Nay.
you said nay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it is approved 3-1. Thank you.
Yep, was there discussion?
4-1, I'm sorry, 4-1. 4-1. That's it.
Okay, Chairman, the next item we have on the agenda is actually for new business items for discussion and consideration. Item number 10, discussion of ordinance number O-050724, an ordinance to establish rules and procedures for public participation at regular meetings for the Board of Commissioners to limit the time for public participation at regular meetings of the Board of Commissioners, and our county attorney, Mr. Patrick Jogstetter, will present.
Good evening. So the board will recall on April 2nd of this year, after a lengthy discussion about public comment, I was instructed to review and present to this board a set of rules regarding public comment. I have drafted a ordinance and presented it to you for your consideration in our discussion tonight. I'm going to walk through what this ordinance does, but before I do it, I'm going to make a couple of comments that may be seen to be controversial and some folks might disagree with, but I will say that these comments I'm about to make are absolutely correct. Number one, Georgia law does not require a time for public comment in a government board meeting. Number two, the Georgia Constitution does not require time for public comment at a government board meeting. The United States Constitution does not require a time for public comment at a government board meeting. The Georgia Open Meetings Act does not require a time for public comment during a government public meeting. However, if you do open the floor for public comment, you then become what the Constitution refers to as a public forum. You are, depending on how one defines it, a designated public forum or a limited public forum. Those are phrases that nobody but lawyers really cares about, but what it boils down to is you cannot restrict speech based on viewpoint. You can't say, I'm going to listen to people in favor of but not against. You can't say, I'm going to listen to Republicans but not Democrats. You can't say, I'm going to listen to people that want their road paved but not people that don't want their road paved. What you can restrict is time, place, and manner. You can restrict the time public comment is permitted. You can restrict the place public comment is permitted. And you can restrict the manner in which public comment is made. And you already have an ordinance that contains some of those restrictions. Your current ordinance has the following restrictions. And this is in the ordinance, and I'll talk about this a little bit more. There's a paragraph number 2, begins on the second page of the ordinance, which is page 28 of your agenda packet. And I'm going to sort of summarize what your existing rules of conduct for public meetings say. Your current rules of conduct says that in public meetings, all meeting attendees must conduct themselves in a respectful manner. Personal attacks and derogatory or inappropriate remarks are not permitted. There shall be no use of profanity during a meeting. It goes on to require that cell phones, communications devices be turned off or switched to silent mode. Meeting attendees should remain silent during the meeting while business is being conducted. No one should speak during a board meeting unless first recognized by the chair. All comments, including those made during the public comment sections of a board meeting and during a public hearing, shall be addressed to the chair and not to any individual commissioner, staff, or other individual. And if you violate this ordinance, or if you violate a Georgia Code section that prohibits disruption of a public meeting, you can be removed. That's what you have today. And that exists in your rules of conduct. What I would propose that you consider is putting whatever provisions you want to put, make them an ordinance. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Ordinances are enforceable differently than simply rules are. Ordinances are written. They're going to be published in your code of ordinances. They're accessible to generally easily accessible to the public on MuniCode, which is where your ordinances live. And that's a good idea, I think, when you have an issue like this, you address it in the most formal, publicly accessible manner possible. Yes, sir.
Turn my mic on.
Commissioner Henderson, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
I broke the rules.
Yes.
I broke the rules. You're right.
Just moving a little forward. I have I think, 3 questions, 2 questions, then I have a comment. Who were the commissioners who approached you and asked you to kind of come up and change the way we kind of conduct our meetings as far as whereas our citizens could come up and speak?
So at the last board meeting, not at the last
April
meeting,
2nd.
I know,
but
okay.
yeah, that meeting, the board authorized him, the county attorney, to go back and revisit that ordinance.
Absolutely. Secondly, what was said that was so disruptive that a officer, we do have officers who can come up if the chairman or somebody, or I guess the chairman would say, remove J.C. Henderson from up there at the podium, and they would take me on. So that's something that's already or has been in place, I think, for a while. So I mean, so I guess the question was, what was said that was so bad that it had the board to say we want to just change the way we do our meetings, or we have our comments in our meetings, or we need another ordinance. So what was that?
I can't speak to what motivates the board to take the action it took. The board directed me to do this, so I did this.
Okay,
so I could not tell you what motivated.
So you don't know what was said, because some of the board members tell me what was said. I mean, if there's a question I can ask.
Commissioner Edwards, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this agenda item was, I believe, placed on this agenda from 2 meetings ago in lieu of canceling or doing away with the second portion of citizen comments on the agenda. Now, I'm looking at right now our current stipulations as it relates to the public participation. And what the county attorney has drawn up as a draft probably tightens it up a little bit, not a lot. I think we got some logistical issues. I don't know if we'll be able to approve this tonight. We got some logistical. One of the citizens stood up and asked did this apply to zoning hearings. I don't think it does.
That's right.
State
And
law governs
I'll
it.
get to all of that in a minute. Yeah.
Sign up for each session was asked. Who decides what topics are discussed? Nobody decides in the second citizen comments. And when would this go into effect? And is this affected by the First Amendment, which you've already addressed? So we got a couple of questions we got to answer, even if we chose to adopt this. So I don't know that. Just my personal opinion. I don't know that we'll be able to do it tonight, but I think our county attorney's still talking, so we're going to work through a couple more things.
So let me just say this, and then
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And then give a comment, and then we'll move on, Mr. Chairman. I'll move on to the next person. This board had brought stuff to the board's attention. First, they want to have no meetings, just call meetings. I mean, I think we all remember that. Let's just have just call meetings. We won't have meetings out for the public to come in. We just call, we come in, and we make a decision, then we go out. But the public said, no, we don't want it. So we want to have the same meeting we've been having ever since I can remember. It may be a little discomfort for the commissioners, but we want to be able to speak and come to meetings. And then restricting your speech. I thought, and I've been here for a while, a little bit longer than some of the others, that's the reason why we're up here, for you to come and address the issues. Now, people have called me some bad names since I've been up here. And in fact, after I walked outside the door, they used the N-word. But I never got mad because nobody never touched me. But my point being is this. If you can't stand the heat in the kitchen, you might want to get out.
Mr. Chairman.
That's the problem that we're having with this board.
Hold on, Commissioner.
I'm sorry.
Hold on for 1 second. Guys, we are still in the public meeting. Please refrain from outbursts. For that it's not tolerated in public meetings. All right. Commissioner,
I just
go
want
ahead.
to end this is the problem. Hey, nobody said that when I got elected that I was going to be rosy and everybody was going to love what I said. It's been a whole lot of folk. People have even shot over my house since I've been on the Board of Commissioners. They came and gave me from this horseshoe right here and took me home to tell me somebody shot over my house. And so people do a lot of things to you, but you say, well, this is what I asked for. I asked for it. Then I asked for it again. Then I asked for it again. And I'm still up here asking, because I want to be the best commissioner I can be to the people, and you can't be the best commissioner that you can be to the people if, first of all, if the people can't see and talk to you and tell you what the needs are. And if it's not a convenient time for them to come up here, for y'all to come up here and tell us, then you don't need us. So let me say this to my fellow commissioners. We need to drop this and go back to having meetings and let the people decide whether or not they want to still be up here or what they want to do. Because it's not in our hands, it's in their hands. And one last thing I'm going to say. The reason why these comments are on it, especially the first one that we have, is because a prior board heard what you said. Said we don't want to sit here all meeting long to the end of the meeting for you to tell us what we want to tell you, especially if we can tell you at the beginning of it, and then you hear us, and then we'll listen to what you're saying and see what you do and see if we want to keep you. So let's stop changing stuff. Let it stay like it is. And if you don't like it, then move on. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I could go through this ordinance, I may answer some of the questions that are being raised before they're raised. So what I want to do is sort of start on the ordinance in your packet under paragraph 1A. So the first thing that this ordinance would require, and again, this ordinance would be binding on this board as well as everybody else. The first thing this ordinance will require is that there be a time for public comment related to agenda items. It is required, if an ordinance like this passes, it is required as a matter of your law, the ordinances you adopt, that you allow public comment on agenda items at every regular meeting. The only way you could avoid it would be the whole board to vote to avoid it at a particular meeting. The only limitation I placed on the public comment with respect to agenda items is the last sentence in that section. And I don't mind telling you, this is a provision put in, I think, purely in self-interest of moving meetings along, and that is a time limit of 30 minutes. That may be something the board doesn't want to do, and if you don't want to do it, I'm totally respect that. All of this is entirely your decision. But paragraph 1A requires that there be a time for agenda item discussion by the public. Just like it is now, 3 minutes per speaker. I proposed a time limit so you can get to doing the business. If you don't want that, or if 30 minutes is too short, we'll take it out. That's fine. Paragraph 1B, the next thing that this ordinance requires is that each meeting there is a time for public comment at which members of the public may provide public comment on any matter related to county government. Now that's a little bit of a limitation. It's any matter related to public comment. You have the public comment at the end of the meeting. It's open to any matters. The only thing I've suggested, and I would recommend, is you limit it to county matters. There's no reason to have public comment to talk about, taxation issues in California, right? It makes sense for whatever is discussed related to county matters. And that's pretty broad. Anything that impacts Newton County would be fair game. Just like it happens today, 3 minutes per person. Again, I put a 30-minute max. That's just in the interest of moving meetings along. Take it out if you don't like it. There's no magic in that. So paragraph 1A and paragraph 1B would codify, would require the public comment to continue like you have it now. Paragraph 1C makes it the law that everyone who gets up and speaks has 3 minutes to speak. So there's no change. Paragraph 1A, 1B, and 1C don't make any change except limiting the public comment, the end of the meeting public comment to matters, any matter related to county governance. Paragraph 1D, this is a new one, and I will tell you where this came from. In my experience, this works. It works well for a lot of reasons. It both makes the meeting move a little more efficiently. It provides a record of who's getting up and what they're talking about. And it is not in a position to be adopted based on the concerns I've already heard. What paragraph 1D does, it calls for people who wish to comment or wish to make public comment, they sign in. They sign in and they put their name. Now, I will tell you some logistics of a good way to do it. I didn't spell that out because, frankly, I didn't have the opportunity to talk to the clerk about it, about how it would make sense for the clerk to do, and I think it might make sense to hear from the board. the notion of it is there are blank sign-in sheets, and then there's a place to put them. So a member of the public wants to come in, he signs a blank, he fills it out, doesn't have to sign it, just fills it out with the information, puts it in the repository, wherever that is. And then at the end of the sign-in period, whenever that is, maybe 2 minutes before the meeting starts or something like that, the county clerk takes those, they're put in order, flips them upside down. The first person to sign in will be the first person to speak. Second person to sign in, second person to speak. There's no editing, there's no censoring. If you signed up, you're going to get your 3 minutes. And it's just a way to order the meeting. If you'll notice what happens a lot of times in the meetings, and while this isn't a big issue, a lot of times what happens is the chair will call anyone else to wish to speak, and there's a 2 or 3 minute delay. Well, there's a delay. The chair moves on, well, then somebody's walking up. That's happened at a few of the more recent meetings. That's inefficient. It puts the person who didn't get to stand up and rush up quick enough, they may lose an opportunity to speak. This proposal, if you sign in, you're going to get an opportunity to speak. Paragraph 1E, and this is not really an issue, although it could become an issue. It says, no member of the public shall be placed on the agenda for purposes of public comment except in accordance with this ordinance. In other words, no one has a right to say, John Q. Public doesn't have a right to call the chair and say, I want to be on the agenda to talk about whatever. The agenda is reserved solely to the board. You don't turn that over to let just anybody put items on the agenda. Paragraph number F, 1F, is where I tried to gather up and plop down kind of the rules about what you do and what you say once you get up here. And I largely pulled this from what exists today. I cleaned a little bit of the language up. What it says is, no member of the public shall be permitted to make personal, impertinent, slanderous, or profane remarks to any member of the board, staff, or general public. Any person who makes such remarks or who utters loud, threatening, personal, or abusive language or engages in any other disorderly conduct which disrupts or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of any board meeting can be barred and removed from the meeting. The purpose here is not to limit what people say, but it's to ensure that the board meeting can move forward. It's a business meeting. Politics are involved too. They're always involved. But this ultimately is a business meeting. The people's business has to get conducted. And we want to make sure this draft is designed to allow people to get up and say what they want to say in a way that doesn't disrupt the meeting. The next few paragraphs are fairly don't have a whole lot of impact, I'll put it that way, but I thought it was important to address it. Paragraph 1G is no public comment portion shall be included at emergency or special called meetings. Typically, if you have an emergency meeting, it's because there's an emergency. If you have a special called meeting, it's because there's some specific thing that needs to be taken care of. We'll dispense with public comment, reserve those to your regular meetings, which are the first and third Tuesdays of each month. Paragraph H, this addresses one of the concerns, public hearings. You may schedule public hearings for the purpose of soliciting public comment on anything. If you want to have a public hearing on, a budget or just a routine item, you can. And if that's the decision of the board, you make a public hearing. The law, Georgia law, requires public hearings on zonings, a handful of other things. I'm not going to sit here and try to guess. But there's a number of things you are required to conduct public hearings on. This ordinance does not touch those. Public hearings, as mandated by law, will continue like they do now. In the context of zoning, you are required to have a public meeting. You are required to allow 10 minutes of people in favor of a zoning application and 10 minutes of people opposed to a zoning application to be heard. This ordinance does not touch that. Paragraph I, video displays are prohibited. I will tell you why that's in there. Is typically in order to make a video display, I have to connect my device or my thumb drive or some data source into the county's computer system. That's, from an IT security standpoint, that's a dangerous transaction because I don't know what's on that thumb drive. I don't know what's on my device. So the easiest way to do that is just say, get up and talk. Let's not have video displays. And
And then paragraph J reiterates that nothing contained in this section shall serve to alter or amend the procedures for public hearings set forth in state law for zoning hearings or other matters required by state or federal law to be accompanied by a public hearing. That is all this does. This ordinance is not intended and does not affect preventing anyone from speaking. It is not intended and does not affect preventing citizens from saying what's on their mind, as long as they do so within the boundaries that I talked about in section F. I made it an ordinance because an ordinance is binding on you, it's binding on me, it's binding on the citizens. And this way, it's not a matter of, well, let's let it happen, let's don't let it happen. You will be required to continue the practice of agenda item public comment and county matter public comment. You will be required to do it. Section number 2 of this ordinance is frankly unnecessary. I don't mind telling you. Section number 2 kind of repeats what we had already. The reason I put that in there is I wanted you to see what the old rules were, and I went through those at the beginning. So my recommendation, and I agree with you, I do think this needs some consideration. This is, while it's not a huge ordinance, it's a page and a half of substance. I do think it requires some thoughtful consideration on your part. I will say this. You must be blind, living under a rock, never watching TV or reading a newspaper, to not understand that politics have become much more aggressive and much more personal than they ever have been in my lifetime. I am 58 years old. I have never experienced politics at a national level that is as personal and ugly as it is today. That has drifted downwards. And I'm not blaming anybody for it. When you see it happen at one level, it drifts downwards. You want to see some difficult, ugly public comment, go to a school board meeting. I don't know if they have that problem here in Newton County, but a lot of school boards are having, rabid anger coming out, primarily dealing with things, access to books, and more social, sort of social issues. You don't have that here. Your public comments have grown more and more personal and have grown more and more, I don't want to say disturbing, but more and more disruptive. And I do think it makes sense to occasionally remind people the purpose for the meetings.
Mr. Chairman. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I will say, I do think this ordinance makes sense. Something like this makes sense for you to consider and to give some thought about. And I think it makes sense to codify it in a way that it can't just be changed at the whim. Make it an ordinance, make it enforceable. And I don't proclaim that this is perfect for you. There's some business decisions for you to make. This is a highly personal decision for you. It's going to impact the community to some extent. I don't think it impacts the community to the extent that people are afraid it does. I don't think you'll see a massive change in how it happens. Even if you were adopted as written, I don't think there would be a big change in how public comments proceed. If you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them. I'll stand here as long as it takes and answer all the questions that you ask.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sanders was first. So Commissioner Sanders, go ahead.
Yes, sir. First, thank you for your comments, Patrick. What's interesting, and first I'm going to apologize to the residents. My capability on this end is disabled, so I cannot see when I can speak and when I cannot speak. I used to be able to do so, but on this Zoom, I don't have the capability. I've been disabled. I had a conversation with my colleagues today. I am in Houston, Texas, with 25 other commissioners from across the United States. And we were talking about Newton County, citizen comments. We have made national news. And some of the things, they were shocked that we even put this on the agenda. I've watched Board of Commissioners meetings here in Atlanta and watched residents sing a whole song about a commissioner. And that commissioner was classy, stood there, and went on with their business. I've seen many meetings, and as Commissioner Henderson stated, if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. People come at me all the time, but not once have you heard me say get rid of citizen comments. When I was talking to my colleagues, They were shocked because it's a state law for them that they have to have citizen comment. So residents, I implore you to reach out to your state delegation to make sure that this is mandatory in the state of Georgia, because other states it's mandatory. Also, the sign-in sheet solution, I brought that up 2 years ago, but no one heard me because a lot of the residents did not want their address stated and they wanted a little bit more order. As well as looking at our ordinance, there's a portion that says that the citizens is required to actually state their name, their address, and I just came out from, and the Jordan Davis was the presenter. I just came from a transparency in government meeting where it stated that's not required for a citizen to state their address. They don't have to. They could just say Newton County, or they could just say their name and move on about their day. So that's actually in our document. So we need to find out what is correct and what is not correct. Because I sent that information to the board, my information that came from that class, that is not required. Placing this on the agenda is very interesting because I heard from a commissioner said that they were the one who actually requested for the second comment to be on there. And Commissioner Henderson is right. It was 3 commissioners that wanted this to be placed on the agenda because they stated that last meeting. They stated who the commissioners were. And one of the commissioners has graciously said, I was the one who actually wanted this placed on the agenda. And the other 2 commissioners, Commissioner Mason and Edwards, stated that I was a part of it. Because I asked the question, how can one commissioner place something on the agenda when I'm always told it has to be 3 commissioners? Residents have a voice. They are woke. They're not quiet anymore when what you're used to in the past. They see what's happening in the county and they're going to speak up. So trying to suppress their voices is saying to them, you voted me in, I'm going to shut you up. You voted me in, I don't care what you have to say. You voted me in, you're going to listen to me because I'm your boss versus they are the boss because they voted us in to represent them in this county. It's a disgrace to me. It's a serious disgrace. And my colleagues here are actually watching the current meeting right now. So shout out to them. And it's really a disgrace because we're trying to suppress the residents of Newton County, voicing their opinions, voicing their concerns. I just had a housing symposium, a housing forum. And one of the things that those residents stated was that they wanted to have a session either monthly or bi-monthly where they can talk to us. They have stated on numerous occasions that certain commissioners don't talk to them, that certain commissioners don't answer their calls. So this is the only time they get it out. So if you have a session for them to be able to speak and state how they feel or state what's going on in the county, then guess what? You won't have outbursts because you gave them a platform. Also, silencing residents for special call meetings. I believe that anytime we're having a vote on something that's going to change the trajectory of this county, put policies in place, create laws, you should always have citizen comment because we are the local government. We determine how our residents are going to live. We affect their livelihood. So telling them they cannot speak, that's a problem. Thank you.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to add further to the discussion. I don't believe this board is trying to eliminate public comments. So I want to reiterate that. The objective is not to not allow any resident to actually speak. I think where the potential of misconstruing is coming in is that I think the board wants to make sure that all of our board meetings are professionally done. Just because we see other board meetings in other counties, other cities, other states conduct their board meetings differently than we do, doesn't necessarily mean that we have to do what we see other boards do. Let's be leaders. Let's do something better. Let's do something different. And so I think we can conduct our board meetings from a professional space. And I think if you look at what the county attorney has actually put out, in this particular ordinance. This ordinance, all it does, it just gives additional guidance. How he talked about, I believe this was in 2 or 1F, to make no member of the public shall be permitted to make personal, impertinent, slanderous, or profane remarks to any member of the board. I think that's the only thing that we're really trying to address. I don't think that our residents should utilize this particular platform to slander a board member because they didn't do or say or vote the way you deemed necessary. I think that this platform should be utilized only for, Board of Commissioners, I have an issue where my road needs to be paved. Board of Commissioners, I have signage, that needs to be addressed in my community. Board of Commissioners, I see that, there is some potential things that's going on in my community that I would like for you all to address. I think those are appropriate things that our residents should be coming to this board and bringing. In addition to coming to this board meeting, you can call your commissioner, you can text them, you can email them. Social media is huge right now. And I think the majority of our commissioners are on social media. And so you're able to reach out to them via social media as well. So this platform is not the only solution to actually speaking to your board. And I think we should allow citizens' comments. Let's just make sure that it is professional. When we go to these classes on a state level, on a national level, these classes are not law. They are recommendations. Hey, this is what we've seen work in the past. It's not like, oh, well, now because you've taken this class, you are mandated to go back to your board and say it has to be conducted or ran in this manner. It is, hey, this is a recommendation. Let's see if this works. This has worked for other counties. If you want to try it, you can. If you don't want to try it, you don't have to. But when we go to these classes, I've never heard an instructor say, this is Bible, this is law. It has to be done this way. It's always recommendations or suggestions. Also, you mentioned in this ordinance as well, we can allow a special call meeting. If we have a specific hot topic that's going on in this community and we really want to hear the voice of the community at this platform, we can call a special call meeting and allow the residents to actually speak on that specific subject matter. So we can actually do that per this particular ordinance. So that ordinance actually addresses that. So I just wanted to provide additional discussion to this topic on what I just heard. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Sanders.
Yes, sir. Before I ask my question, the class that I was referring to was the Open Records Act. So we do have to follow that law. It was taught by our actual county attorney, which is Gerard and Davis. So when they give us law on how we have to follow, we can actually be cited by the Attorney General. So that came from an attorney, not just us actually just stating there for suggestion. That's the Open Records Act. So as we move on, I have a question in regards to the amount of citizen comments that are being taken away. Because what I heard, and please correct me, Patrick, are we trying to add, keep only one citizen comment where it's only on agenda items, and then take away the second one where the citizens, for instance, they may say something's going on with their roads and they're waiting to the end to speak on their road. Are we taking away that one? Because if you're saying a citizen can only speak on agenda item, then when can they address the full board to speak on something else that's pertaining to the county?
Absolutely not. So paragraph 1A of the draft ordinance deals with public comment on agenda topics. Paragraph 1B of the proposed ordinance requires public comment on any matter related to county governance. So you would keep both public comment portions. You would keep the agenda item which would makes most sense at the beginning of your agenda, just like it's done. And you would keep the other topics wherever the board chooses. And both of those public comment sections would continue under the ordinance as drafted.
Okay, and so also, you said limited the amount of time. Are you just speaking on the whole portion of that? Like, for example, the first citizen comments is based on agenda. So is that one going to be 30 minutes, and then the second one's also going to be 30 minutes? Or are you trying to limit the amount of time that they speak?
So each individual is limited to 3 minutes.
Right.
The proposal I drafted would limit agenda topics to a total of 30 minutes, and it would also restrict the general public comment to a total of 30 minutes. So it would be 30 minutes each. But, yeah, 30 minutes total for each one. So I'm not saying that you should or must adopt that. I'm putting that as an option for you. If the board chooses not to go that direction, I think that's fine. But it would ensure some efficiency in the conduct of your meetings.
Thank you.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Thank you. Patrick, did we have a public meeting where our constituents could come in and kind of just talk to us and tell us what they feel or how they think about this? Or was it just a commissioner's decision?
Well, ultimately, it is the commissioner's decision. If the board wants to have a public forum or something like that, the board certainly can do that. I would not suggest that you shouldn't. That's entirely up to the board.
I believe that we should, because in order for us to effectively govern, as I think some of my colleagues have said, then we need to ask our public as far as how might they want us to do this. Secondly, if it was 3 commissioners, so if 3 commissioners wants to change it, then change. It's not where you have to have a majority or all commissioners or supermajority. It's just 3 commissioners change it, and that's it.
So if this is approved as an ordinance, it would take a vote of a majority of the Board of Commissioners to amend the ordinance. And that's part of the reason I recommend you do it as an ordinance.
Okay, so it would take 3 commissioners who have already said they want to change it,
Mm-hmm.
and they said because some insults that they said that somebody did or said, one person, everybody, all the whole Newton County is being punished for it. And the deputies, as I was here, the deputies told the gentleman to leave. He had turned around and left. It should have been a supermajority, or at least a majority of vote as far as how it can be, because you're leaving out 2/3, 2/5 of the population on the decision that maybe the entire or the majority of Newton County citizens don't want to change. And let me just close with this.
Yeah, let me make.
Let me finish, then you get to,
Yeah,
because
go
I'm
ahead.
finna make my little statement, I'm gonna leave, then you say whatever you want to say, Patrick. This is a election year. We send you all kind of stuff to your doorstep. Vote for me. And when it come down to public comment, they're gonna shut you off. Don't say we don't care what you say. We don't even care if you had a forever chemicals in your blood system. We don't even give you a test kit. I'll show you what a test kit to test yourself. They do not care. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm saying it up here, and I say it out there in the street, and I say it at home. Stop supporting people who don't support you. Thank you.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One last thing. I don't think public comment should be limited to 1124 Clark Street. I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to limit public comments to this one space. We as elected officials, we're here to speak on behalf of our residents. And so we should be having public comments with our residency all the time. So not only during an election year, we should be having phone calls with our residents. We should be having events in our community where our residents can come out and have those conversations. We can have town halls. So I don't want this board to feel as if 1124 Clark Street is the only place that public comments can be stated. All 5 of the Board of Commissioners should be having public comments on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, my colleague Commissioner Henderson just had a town hall. I think that's great. We should be having those town halls. We should be having those meetings. And once we go out and hear from our residents in our respective districts, then we can bring that back to 1124 Clark Street. I don't know if we should say, hey, I have, 20,000+ residents in my district. Well, I need to say it, and I need to have all 20,000 residents come to 1124 Clark Street and say the exact same thing. If that's the case, then you don't need us as elected officials. We are the residents' voice. We are here to speak on their behalf. Let's stop limiting public comments to 1124 Clark Street. Let's get out into the community. Let's knock on our residents' doors throughout the year when it's not an election year. Let's have events where we can talk to our residents on a consistent basis to hear what it is that they want, and then bring it back to this board and say, I've had a town hall, this is what the residents of my district is stating. So let's not limit public comments to this particular platform. Let's, as elected officials, go out into our communities on a regular basis and have those conversations. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Patrick.
Before I leave, I want to make 3 quick comments. First of all, I've heard a lot of talk about the elimination of public comment. If it is this board's desire to eliminate public comment, this ordinance does not accomplish that. I want that just to be clear. This ordinance does not eliminate public comment. Next thing I want to do is I'm not going to point out who said anything, but there was a comment to suggest that the better purpose for public comment is to come express our needs. I want to remind the board that the right to criticize you is a fundamental right under the First Amendment. There is no version of an ordinance that I can draft, short of eliminating all public comment, that would remove the right of the citizenry to criticize public officials. I can limit the manner in which they criticize. Can't yell at me, you can't threaten me. I can make some effort to try to keep it a little bit more productive, but the criticism of you is the very fundamental nature of the First Amendment. But the last thing I want to say, I don't know how long we've been talking about this, but I want to say this about this discussion. I've practiced local government law for 30 years. This discussion makes me happy, and let me tell you why. I expect when I got up, a lot of people were on edge, clenched teeth, but here's what you've got. You've got an engaged citizenry behind me. You have a robust debate about what this ordinance should say. You may or may not make a decision tonight. This is how government works. It just so happens that it's an issue that is an important issue and that it touches a lot of people directly. If you had a debate like this on every item on your agenda, I would be exhausted, but I would be happy. This is the type of debate you should be having. The fact that I'm asked tough questions, I love this. This is the reason I'm a local government lawyer, because I think you should think through decisions you're making. You should tackle the hard decisions, and you should make the decision that you as a body think is appropriate. I don't always agree with that decision. I don't have to agree with that decision, and I don't get to make that decision. I have never been elected to anything, and I never will be elected to anything. But it is my job to present you with options. It is your job to suffer through these types of discussions, to engage with your constituency and figure out what the right way to do it is. And I would say to all of you, you deserve a pat on the back for having this difficult conversation, hearing each other's questions and concerns. I will make myself available to any one of you to answer any question you have, and I would invite all of you to review the ordinance, mark it up as much as you want to mark it up, criticize it as much as you want to criticize it. This will impact you and the citizens a whole lot more than it impacts me. I will provide whatever ordinance this board ultimately decides to do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
In closing, Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So at this time, if you would entertain it, I'd like to make a motion to table for a period of 30 days pending the commissioners having a more opportunity to throw darts at it after they've heard from their constituency, and we can have some more discussion. We've always got the current rules in place, but I would suggest, or my motion is to table it for 30 days. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Henderson that we table this for 30 days, get the commissioners opportunity to look at it and make comments and suggestions to that. Any discussions?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Henderson, go ahead. Commissioner Henderson first. Go ahead. We're gonna get to it, I promise you.
Okay. I just want to say this. If the citizens of Newton County, I'm going to tell you something, in all the years I've been here, I've never heard or seen anything like what stuff that it has came before this board in my life in times. I have never heard of a board of committee saying, well, hey, we don't have no meetings. We just want to just call a meeting when we need to discuss something, have it, and then go on. I ain't never know the commission don't want you to have a citizen comment. And what we're really doing is seriously thinking about having it. I don't know. I'm going to just tell you, you better wise up and stop listening to some of these folks. Because before you know it, we ain't going to have no government. I guess after a while, we just be walking around and you go to a machine and say, well, I think we're going to vote for this person, that person, not for the folks who really want to listen to us and have a say in our government. That's what it used to be about, having a say, having folks you could talk to, having coming down here to the horseshoe and you have a meeting and tell us what you want us to hear. They cutting all that out, y'all. And maybe I'm just an old man, still in your kind of old ways, but I'm telling you, it's changing awful fast, and I don't think it's for the good. Thank you, Mr. C.
Commissioner Sanders.
Yes, sir. My suggestion is we're tabling it for 30 days. Within that 30 days, we have a open forum with the residents of Newton County. And the reason why I say that is that I'm going back to that housing forum, listening to the residents, that we don't listen to them. We don't hear them. So one thing that I said in that housing forum, even when I advertised it, I said, if you're going to come with concerns and issues and gripes, bring me solutions. And so they brought solutions. So I believe within that 30 days, we need to have an open town hall right here in the boardroom and have the residents come before us and speak. And then we vote, because we're completely not listening to them. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. It passes. Passes 5-0. Ms. Hampton.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is item number 11, presented by our Senior Services Director, Ms. Frida. Ms. Frida Reed, Senior Services, is requesting approval of the vending service agreement with Moneybox Vending, LLC, for vending machine services at our Senior Services facility.
Good evening.
Good evening. Do you have a contract? The contract in front of you I have seniors that would like to have a vending machine in their facility. And we do serve lunch and breakfast, but every now and then in between they want snacks. So we had a young man, Mr. James Newsom, who is the owner of a vending company. He came, he approached us and talked to us about putting one machine into our facility to see how our seniors would react to that. And the best thing about that is he has promised that whatever he makes, we will receive 10%. So there's no cost to the county to put the machine into our facility. So I'm asking the board to approve that, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. I seek a motion, please. It's a motion by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Sanders?
Yes, sir, aye.
Thank you. It passes 5-0. Thank you so much.
Thank the board for loving our seniors.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the next item on the agenda is being presented by Mr. Jeff Prine, our project manager for Parks and Recreation. Purchasing Department is requesting approval of Amendment Number 1 of Sunbelt Builders Construction Services Agreement for Spring Hill Neighborhood Park Project.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. When we put this project out for bid, we require the general contractor to carry allowances for unforeseen conditions like rock and soil conditions, because this was a virgin site. Through engineering and working with our team and the contractor, we've been able to avoid the rock and the unforeseen conditions. So therefore, that opened up those funds to be able to buy back additional park program elements that we had master planned but didn't think we could afford. Those items included the asphalt loop trail, multi-purpose fields, community gardens, a trail down to the Yellow River, play fountain, and an 18-hole Frisbee golf course. As part of that, we had 25 parking spaces in the original base construction contract. This particular amendment would allow us to finish the circle and all the parking and give us 91 parking spaces, which would be more amenable for a park of this size with this much activity that could be going on. So tonight we're asking you to approve this amendment to allow us to move forward and complete the parking element of this master plan. Now, this is all within our budget. We are within our project budget. There's no additional funds coming in out of SPLOST 17, and we are still projecting that we will end the project with a cost savings as well.
Thank you so much. Commissioner, I seek a motion. Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Cowan? Is there a motion by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Cowan? Discussion, Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. At our town hall meeting, and Mr. Cooper, I thank God that you were there. In fact, you come to all my meetings, which is good. We always enjoy you being there. But one of the concerns that my constituents had wasn't about that curve of somebody egress up in there, and they were talking about a big old pipe was over there, and they wanted a little more space somehow or another. They were talking about at that particular meeting. You can always go to my page. I have it on my page. You look at the entire meeting. But what I'm saying, and they wanted to be looked at because they said it was somewhat of a danger in that particular spot where we had it at.
You're talking about right when they enter the park area?
Yes.
Okay, Jeff, can you talk about, have they smoothed that area out yet?
So the entrance into the park itself is still under construction. So what they've been working on is doing the additional stormwater improvements up there, putting in the signage. Matter of fact, this afternoon they were actually pouring the curb and gutter. We've been working with Chester to make sure that all those are put in per plan and per spec. And also we actually located the entrance at that location because it gave us a greater visibility up and down Lower River Road than if you remember, we originally had it going to be at the intersection of Moat Road. And that hill and that curve concerned the transportation department. So we actually moved it down to where it is today because now you have a greater visibility in both directions if you're pulling in and pulling out.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's kind of addressed because there was something that he wanted. And I also want to, excuse me, reach out to my constituents in Spring Hill that let me know what you might want. Just as my colleague, Commissioner Mason said, call me and let me know what you would like to see. And we're gonna bring Ronnie Cowan, the founder of that project, aboard with us, and hope it makes it the way that he had originally wanted it to be built. So we want to make sure that be addressed and any other things that might want to be addressed. So call me, 770-896-3826. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Commissioner Sanders.
Yes, now that I have Mr. Prime in front of us, I want to make sure, since we're talking about Parks and Rec, at the last SPLOST meeting, which is also recorded on my page, when the question was posed about you needing directives to move forward, or the commissioners have been told you how to move forward with the park in District 3, can you please expound on that? Because you told that to myself, board, as well as residents who were there at the meeting as well.
What I stated in the update to the advisory committee was that we had exhausted looking at all of the candidate sites that had been presented to the board, and of the sites that we were authorized to go investigate. The two sites that we had, which were the top two candidates that were authorized for us to have discussions and to reach out to the owners, both owners had declined and were not willing to sell the property at that point.
So basically, as you stated to us, you were waiting for the board to have you move forward, as you stated in the SPLOST meeting.
What I was saying is that though we had, to that point, yes, we've exhausted looking at the candidate sites that were presented to the board, and so at this point we would need to come back to the board in a work session and figure out the next steps.
Thank you so much for clarifying that and giving the correct information.
Thank you. All in favor? Commissioner Sanders?
I'm sorry, sir, aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Prime. Ms. Hammond.
Mr. Chair, the next item on the agenda is being presented by Mr. Jason Johnson, Director of Building Services. Facilities Department is requesting approval of Order Number 3 to the Five Fields Lawn Care Professional Services Agreement for additional landscape maintenance services.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. As you heard Ms. Hamp say, we are requesting approval for a change order to our landscape management services. The total request is $3,660 per year, and that is to increase the level of service at our recycle centers that are unoccupied. We have 5 recycle centers that are unoccupied, and this increase will allow them to be cut instead of 6 times per year to 12 times per year.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those questions.
Thank you, sir. Guys, I'll seek a motion, please. Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Sanders?
Aye.
Thank you. They passed 5-0. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Hamp.
Mr. Chair, the next item we have on the agenda is being presented by Mr. Chester Clegg, Transportation Director. Number 14, Public Works is requesting approval of RFQ 24-18, culvert pipe package from Cherokee Culvert Company, Inc., and it is time sensitive, please.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Randy Fincher received bids on some pipe that we need to replace some culverts in our roads and to keep in stock. It's 48-inch, 60-inch diameter, and 72-inch, pretty big pipe. And the lowest bid was almost $65,000, and we're requesting that the board approve the purchase of that pipe. And most of this pipe will be mostly put in by Public Works crews.
Thank you, sir. Guys, let's take a motion, please. Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner?
Aye.
Thank you. Passes 5-0. Ms. Hamp?
Mr. Chair, the next item we have is item number 15, being presented by Ms. Brittany White, our Finance Director, Finance and Accountability Court, a budget amendment request of the date fund budget for fiscal year 24, expenditures for co-occurring substance and mental health treatment and transportation for the Newton County Accountability Court, time sensitive before the end of the month.
Good evening.
Good evening. Tonight before you, you have a budget transfer for our date fund. So just a general synopsis of our date fund. It is a special revenue fund, so this is different than the general fund. So the date fund is a 50% penalty placed on certain drug-related fines that is collected in Superior Magistrate Court and Probate Court. So these funds are legally restricted to be utilized for drug abuse treatment and education programs. So the Accountability Court did present a letter to Finance, which is also attached in your packet, to utilize date funds for the purpose of co-occurring substance and mental health treatment and transportation. So they need to utilize $24,000 for the remainder of FY24. So this budget amendment is utilizing prior year fund balance. So there is a fund balance in the date fund of $372,000. So we would utilize $24,000 of that, and then that would go to contracted services. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much. Guys, let's take a motion, please. Can I get it's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. It passes 5-0. Thank you so much for being here, Judge Zahn. I see you in the back. Thank you so much. Ms. Hamp.
Mr. Chair, the next item that we have on the agenda is item number 16, being presented by our County Manager, Mr. Cooper, and it is a discussion of the Juneteenth appropriation.
Thank you all. I'm going to ask at this time that Ms. Terry James come to the podium as well. This is an appropriations that we provided to the Newton County Historical Committee and Black Heritage Preservation Corporation last year in the amount of $10,000. They're asking for that amount again this year for the Juneteenth celebration. And in terms of the items identified, they have about 9 items in which this money will be actually dispersed to. These items range from advertising and marketing, technology, internet access, the actual Juneteenth programming, the scholarship program, the production of the event, the printing of T-shirts, cleaning supplies and food, as well as insurance. So at this time, I'm going to yield to Ms. James to speak on this matter more in depth.
Good evening.
Okay. I'm going to speak on this matter. Okay. My name is Ann Marks Bargy, and of course you know, and I thank you for the money that we received, the funds that we received last year. And with that in mind, even though we had the budget item for $10,000, we always go over, exceed that. So with that also in mind, all the advertising. This year, what we're trying to do is go a little higher than what we did last year. We're going to, we have a lot of entertainment, things for the children, and just a variety of things that we can use to enhance our festival and the parade. As you know, the parade is funded by the city of Covington, and with the county coming in and giving us the $10,000 last year, that was a big help, and we want to thank you for that. We have a number of things that, like you did mention, the advertisement, the technology equipment that we do need to use, the internet access, because we will be utilizing the band room also, so we need that internet access there. We have volunteers. With the volunteers, we need T-shirts, and that was one of the items there. Cleaning supplies, because after the parade and the festival, we need a lot of cleaning supplies, and also food for the volunteers. And I think we sent over a budget item. Did you guys get that?
You sent over the itemized sheet, the
Right,
budget,
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. So all of that should be on there. So we're asking you this year if you could again fund the activities that we're going to have after the parade. And y'all know that Juneteenth is a big item. I mean, a big attraction here in Newton County for everyone.
I seek a motion.
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. You know, I enjoyed, I think it was Saturday, it was last Saturday, he had the businessmen black chamber, yes, I enjoyed it. I went out and I took pictures with, I think, everybody, and it was so nice. They had a lot of really nice stuff that they were looking at selling, and the activities and stuff. And I think we need to have more activities like that throughout Newton County, you know. So maybe it's a good chance that you make it extended over to Denny Dog Park, over to or in Oxford, at Oxford Park, parks like that, and just kind of let people see the rich black chamber of businesses that y'all are supporting and helping to bring into the community. And one last, I think, is my understanding that the TK Adams sign for Mr. Adams is going to be replaced or have been replaced.
It has been replaced.
Okay, and I think that's a great plus for the community. Because I can remember last time, a couple of preachers and myself, we paid to have it placed there. And so we're glad that the county, hopefully from now on, if something happened to it, that they'll replace it in the memory of Mr. T.K. Adams and Miss Adams, people who we are very fond of and we love. But we thank y'all, Miss Ann, you, Miss Terry James, and everybody who works there for, the good effort, how y'all working in the community to make people know, to tell them the story of the history, the rich history, the great history that we have here in Newton County. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Sanders?
Yes, sir. Excuse me if it was already mentioned, but I didn't hear it mentioned. And a lot of people are not aware that Juneteenth is a federal holiday, just like the 4th of July. And as the county is always put on the spot to match dollars, I like to call out the city of Covington to match the dollars for Juneteenth as they do for 4th of July. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. It passes 5-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is. Next on the agenda is citizens' comments. Opportunity to allow citizens to make comments. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Dave Norton of New Bern. To the county attorney, you did a fine job a while ago. You've almost restored my faith in the attorney profession. Last week, Commissioner Sanders held a public forum, and I'd like to thank her for the opportunity for us to speak. It was mentioned that Newton County citizens were going to other counties to shop, and we need ways to keep those dollars in Newton County. Yesterday, I saw a notice about the Board of Education and East Post taxes. Also coming before this board is the action on impact fees. I have already seen a receipt from a restaurant that had an impact fee added on to that receipt. It may have been from the city of Covington. And if we're still have other commissioners from across the county or across the state, across the country listening, maybe we shouldn't give billion-dollar corporations a tax break and have them pay for our schools and roads. If we are bringing them here to increase the tax base and creating a need for more housing. if my bill for whatever I'm purchasing in this county here has added taxes and fees, then I will be looking for a cheaper place to shop. To steal a term from Mr. Mason a while ago, if this board needs consultants to be subject matter experts on paying taxes, at the beginning of the meeting, we had a room full of them. So, thank you for your time.
Anyone else? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Louis Williams. My address is 40 Beaver Court, Covington, Georgia. This is my first night coming to this meeting. And I was really looking for something different. I'm kind of disappointed because out of this agenda right here, I don't see a lot that's dealing with the situations around Covington. Now, everybody get a chance to go here and get this approved, get that approved, but what about the people that are homeless? What about, there's a whole lot of stuff going on in these neighborhoods that are not on this agenda. This is not people's business that's on here. Okay, now, the other but Congresswoman Sanders, the homeless issue. Now, she showed a video of the little small homes, what you call it, tiny homes or whatever, that certain countries are using, certain states are using to help with homelessness, getting people help, got different things set up. That this is the new thing. It's like nobody wants to change the square footage of the homes. You know, it's like, oh, you got to have 1,800 square feet. But people live in apartments, 900 square feet. So why they can't live out here in a 900 square feet tiny home or 700 square feet? I can live in an apartment. You can give the builders around here the permission to build $300,000, $400,000 homes, but you won't let me build a $20,000. Or you won't let the person that wants to build their own $20,000. See, this people business, you know, but this right here, I'm stunned, really. And then you keep us here all night just to get up here to say this. I've never been in a meeting that took so many hours to address basically nothing. Just approving, well, you approve to build this, you approve to do this, you approve to put a pipe in the ground, you approve. That's people business? When you got people out here suffering, can't even buy groceries, can't even afford to live, can't even afford to pay rent, and you won't let them build a tiny house. I got property, my own property, and you won't let me build no tiny house on it. It has to be 1,800 square feet. When I can turn around and I can put 3, 4 houses on there and rent to somebody for $400, $500. That's nice, that they can live. But no, they won't let you do it here. But you can go to Atlanta, you can go to DeKalb County, you can go to Savannah, you can go to Monroe, you can go everywhere.
Thank you, sir.
But you won't let you do it here.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Please state your name, your address. You have 3 minutes to do so. Thank you so much.
Because you got it. You got it, Mason. You got it. You got it. You got this. You got the bill, the bills for everything. But then you want my address. My name is Tracy Belcher. My dad's name is Charles Malone. You live right down the street from me, Marcellus. My daddy has dementia. You told me to go get a loan to fix my daddy's house. Then you just stood up here and asked them people, how much did the city donate? How much you gonna donate to my daddy to fix his house? That's what I wanna know. You getting everybody money. You telling a lie. You can't call you because I done called you. I emailed everybody up here on this podium. Ain't nobody called me. I seen you at the meeting. You asked me, did I bring the paper? What you were saying? Yes, I brought the paper. But you still ain't called me. Yes, I need mental health. But then, let me tell you something. Don't ever talk about no cancer or whatever. I'm a nurse. And it takes common sense to get knowledge. Back when a lot of us was born, they had midwives, wasn't no doctors. They had to use what they was taught because they didn't go to school. Don't do that. Don't do it. Enough is enough. Now, I want to know when y'all going to fix my daddy's house. Y'all got all the paperwork. When my mama died, you took it off the table. So when you going to fix my daddy's house? I got 1 minute and 20-some seconds. When you going to fix my daddy's house? I know if they spent $25,000, you going to get 30. So you going to give us $30,000? Because we ain't taking no loan out. No, we're not. No, we ain't. So why y'all ain't talking to me? Why? Y'all ain't got nothing to say. Y'all milking the system. Y'all taking the money. Where's that? You got 100,000. Tell me you got to finish the houses you did with 100,000. You ain't did nothing. You ain't did nothing. No, you ain't. Yes, I'm mad. You my district, but you ain't did nothing. Y'all ain't did nothing but sit here and lie. Told lies. And you talking about you know my brother. My brother a crook too. Now tell him I said. Tell him exactly what I said.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
My name is Miss Cabion. I was here at the meeting on the 2nd, and I opposed to address the situation I was having to you all, and you all said you would look into it. Mr. Cooper, I've talked to you several times, no calls back. Ms. Hodges, no call back, or they're going to call the contractor with the issue that I'm having. And the issue that I'm having is, I'm not the only one, maybe speaking up, but the work he done is not correct, for number one. Number two, I have sense enough to know if you buy materials for any job, you get a warranty with it. Not only a warranty, you get information on who to contact in case there's something wrong. But Mr. Cooper, I don't understand why I came here and I spoke to you. You promised that you would look into this. But every time I talk to you, it's always, Ms. Hodges, talk to her. Ms. Hodges, talk to Mr. Cooper. What's going on? Why we can't get little things like this addressed? When you said the last time I was in the meeting, you was gonna look at it, because I brought up the fact that seniors don't realize what is wrong at the time when these contractors come in that's on y'all list. But yet and still, no reaction. Why? Why we can't get some type of protection against contractors that don't do us right? If it was your grandparents, your parents, if it was your home, what would you do? What would you do? And it was up under a program of the county. What would you do? Tell me so I could do it. That's all I want to know. That's why I feel so invisible when I come to these meetings, because it just seems like it just doesn't matter. You said what you said, now get on. Okay, I get it. But I'm going to come back, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to come back. Because I hate to feel invisible when I pay my taxes, when you all that's sitting in a position to help seniors or anybody else in the community. If you can't help guide them, I've asked for guidance, haven't I, Mr. Cooper? Just guide me. What you do? Nothing. You avoid my calls or don't call me back. And that's very annoying to know that a county manager don't even have enough respect for a citizen to say, hey, I can't do nothing for you, versus I'll get back with you and don't. How would you feel? Even if one of your board members did that to you and he had a very important thing on his agenda and you never got back, what would you do? Mr. Mason, what would you do if you got that from one of your colleagues?
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank me. Thank me for what?
Your time is up, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Really?
Yeah, you get 3 minutes.
Okay, is you gonna do anything, Mr. Cooper?
Ma'am, you get 3 minutes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Hello, I'm Sheila Sawyers, and I live in Covington, 30014. And I'm here to discuss the senior citizen program and my contractor not doing the work. And they trying to make me sign the release form to get his money, but and I've talked to him like 2 months, and like I told them, I've been talking with him, but he hadn't come out. Why would I sign that contract? You know, and I know he won't come back. Because all I do is fuss, and like I say, the boy, his work is zero. I mean, it's just hard. Excuse me, but anyway, I want to give Cooper and
Commissioner Hampton.
You got enough time to do it? Yes, ma'am.
And he put, like I said, bathroom I have, he put a commode in, and he put a fiberglass sink and a tub and shower in. And that's the only thing he put in. He didn't change anything else, but he's still charging $4,595, you know, $100 for that. And he like just taking all the money and not doing, you know, just.
Basically, what she was trying to tell y'all was that the things that he had listed on the paper, on the contract and everything, he didn't do the things that he was supposed to been doing, but he wants to get paid for the things that she had on it that he did do. That's what she wanted y'all to know.
And then just like he got down, a lot of stuff is crooked because he put on there double doors, you know, 2 double doors, and I have single doors, and the doors was like almost almost $3,000 but double doors, you know, front and back. But he put in 2 cheap metal doors, and it cost, both of them together cost less than $1,000, you know. And then he told me, he said, you act like it's your money. That's all I went through, because I started in June, you know, trying to get the grant, and I was approved in November. He come out to work the end of January of this year, and it's been like 2 months, and they've been calling me from our paramedic, go ahead and sign. He gonna come do it. I said, I'm not signing that, because he even had 2 months, you know, to come out and finish the work, but didn't. So I'm not gonna sign it. But they just keep on telling me this the 3rd time we done tried to get into it, blah blah blah. But I'm not signing that until, you know, the work is done.
Okay. Mr. Cooper, can you?
Thank you.
Mr. Cooper, can you follow up with her, please? Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. Yeah, I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but just listening to some of these things, I figure I'd say a couple comments. I spent most of my life in the Army. I'm a retired officer, and my colleagues that are retired too, we kind of see things around this country, and there's a lot of problems we see, and it means a lot to us because, you know, we've served with people that haven't come back, and it probably touches us when we see problems in this country more than it touches a lot of people here. And we can fix a lot of these things, and some of the things that the federal government, yeah, we can't, but I figure I try to get a little bit involved with the local government here. One thing that kind of upset me is hearing this, trying to restrict these public comments, whatever you want to call it. In this country, with freedom, there's going to be disagreements, there's going to be different opinions. If you want a real efficient system, you can go to China and have the best meetings run you can. I mean, once in a while, if people are upset, it's because they're probably frustrated. I looked up the other day, last year there was a study done by the Pew Research Institute, and I sent it to a couple of the commissioners. There's 6% approval, 6% of the American population feels that the democracy is working in this country. It's the lowest it's ever been. People at all levels are believing their government is failing them. And I kind of see it because they're not listening. I mean, if somebody comes here and they're upset, yeah, they're upset because they're frustrated. Just don't take it personally. They have nowhere else to go. They're looking at you guys as the ones that can make a decision to affect their lives. And trying to restrict what they're going to say, if the people we're supposed to be serving have no faith in the government, they're not even going to show up. I go out here on the street every day and I listen to people. All I hear is complaints. And, you know, I take it personally because this country meant a lot to me, and it still does. I mean, I've gone to war with people that haven't come back. And this is not what they would want to see. You know, people having more and more restrictions. There's so many laws and ordinances, nobody even can keep track. You know, I don't think you're doing a service putting more restrictions on people. And if I'm here and somebody gets upset at somebody, I'll go calm them down. But don't take it personally, and don't you know, make them live in a police state. Let them express themselves. You know, let them gain some faith in the government. You know, that's, you know, just think about it. I mean, when I served, I mean, in some real rough situations, yeah, people are, when they're frustrated, they're gonna, you know, express all kinds of things. Don't take it personally. Just try to empathize with them.
Thank you so much.
So,
Hey,
thanks for your time.
What's your name again?
James Sobolewski. I'm at 120 Bluegrass Way.
Thank you, sir.
And Commissioner Sanders is still on the phone. Appreciate your getting back with me when I send you some
Thank you, sir.
comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Next, please.
This is Paul Revere Jackson on the Under Threat Nation News. I'm a resident here in Newton County. That veteran just came up here and spoke to his government. Whether or not you guys heard him or not is a whole different story. He already didn't ask you like I'm asking you. Do not violate people's right to come up here and address their government. Mr. Baines, last time I was here, you kicked Arthur Shepard out of this public meeting. So that was one strike, but ain't no telling how many other people you didn't violate it. Then I want to tell you, why would you restrict the people's right to address their government? If I want to sit up here and curse, I should be able to sit up here and curse. You guys work for the people. We don't work for you guys. You take our tax dollars and do what you please with them. So Newton County, these people up here do not care about what you say to them. If you're not giving them money, if they're not spending your money, your taxes going up, they're not listening to you. They really probably don't want us here unless they get accolades. But we're not here to give you accolades. We're here to address this government and why you guys are so corrupt and not want the people to speak their mind. And then these ladies out here under the ARPA fund money. Miss Kennedy, Mr. Cooper, you guys was in charge of $21 million of taxpayer money. You ran out. You only gave our own sheriff $100,000. But how much did you give Piedmont Hospital that you got to actually pay to go in there? They don't work, Piedmont don't work for the citizen, but Ezell Brown worked for the citizen. He should have got the bulk of that money. How much money did you give people? That was a lot of money that could have went to help these people in Newton County. $21 million, 275 people served. So what happened to the rest of it? We're talking about $15 million. Disappeared. So I'm saying to this, you guys are so messed up. But it's election time, Newton County. Please get out and vote. Please, because we have a dysfunctional government here. When I say dysfunctional, they got stuff to hide from you. You can't even pull the Open Record Request Act here in this county without going through Cheerio. Try to do an open request, FOIA request on the ARPA fund money. Try that. Put in a request for the ARPA fund money and see what you get. You ain't gonna get no laid out sheet of everything they spent that money on. They got something to hide. Good luck, Newton County.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Please state your name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes to do so.
Hi, my name is Naomi Roth-Berberick. I live off Dixie Lane in Covington. The main thing that I wanted to talk about is Sockwell Corners and Morgan Farms. The signs for the signs for the rezoning have still not changed. They still say back from March or so, maybe before that. The signs, the last time they were changed, it looked like somebody put some very thin masking tape on with like the thinnest Sharpie I've ever seen. And they're saying, oh, we updated it. And the last meeting I went to for the Planning Commission, it was postponed because of improper advertising. I'd really like to see it properly advertised if possible. I was considering calling, but I thought maybe it'd be better if I came to the meeting. And the other thing is that, for the item 10, I just wanted to let you know, you spoke about that for 48 minutes. I know that it was really important that you talked about it. You had good points, but we're talking about limits and things like that. Just wanted to let you guys know you spoke for 48 minutes about one topic on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, I'm going to beat the dead horse some more on this comment thing. It blows me away. We are not. Now, we originally had talked about removing the second commissioner comments, or citizen comments. We are in a stage now to where we're refining the current guidelines and codifying. I do agree with codifying it, making it law, whatever it is. Even if we don't make any changes, take what we've got now and codify it. We're not trying to restrict anyone's speech, except when you get up there and make false accusations about a commissioner. That's the only thing we're trying to restrict. But we got people that can't behave, so that's why we have to have rules. So I'm going to make sure, I'm going to keep pushing until we get this finished. And what the real shame of it is to me is that we've got to spend all this time on it when all people have to do is exercise just a little bit of decency. That's all. To the gentleman on the front row that served in our military, thank you. To the gentleman, to the people that didn't come home, I don't deserve to breathe their air. Okay? But to compare this to a communist, to a Chinese communist is way out of line. I resent it. That's exactly what you said. That's exactly what you said. So I'm talking right now.
Oh, my.
See?
Thank you for your service. Sir. No, sir, I didn't.
Sir, can you please escort him out, please, sir? Thank you.
Get him out of here.
Sir. Guys, hey, sir.
Deputies.
In my opinion, it was a bad analogy. But nevertheless, I stand by what I said. I don't deserve to breathe those gentlemen's air, or those women or gentlemen's air. But I want us to push toward a resolution and finality with this, because it's taking up too much of our time. It's getting to our productivity. So I'd ask that we move forward. Secondly, I would challenge the community, absolutely challenge the community to get involved with our coming, the Miracle League All-Star Game. If you know of a corporation that's looking to get involved with something like that, that's a wonderful. My dad was passionate and one of the original members of that board, so it's near and dear to my heart. So, and to the people that we recognize, the organizations we recognize for the ARPA funding, I believe it was Oxford Baptist and the 4-H, and I forget the name of the other organization. It was an acronym, I forget, but you've heard me say it 10,000 times. Those organizations fill in the gaps for what government can't. They fill in the gaps for where other organizations can't. If it weren't for them, our society would absolutely collapse, I believe. So I just want to thank them for what they do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sanders. Commissioner
Yes,
Sanders.
sir. I'm sorry. I'm trying to hit this. I have my timer over here just in case I can't see you guys. So I'm going to head and skip this timer. I'm truly concerned. I just want to say this to the residents of Newton County. Your county is a subsidiary of the state. Get to know your state legislators, your state reps, and so forth, and voice your concerns. I know tomorrow is a meeting where you can schedule with your lieutenant governor. I posted on my page. You can schedule a meeting with your lieutenant governor. Get familiar with individuals on the state level. I had actually something written out, and I'm listening to the constituents in regards to the ARPA funds. When the ARPA funds came to Newton County, I was so excited. One of the reasons why I love education, love traveling, and hearing from other commissioners in various areas, I love their success stories. I'm a part of a cohort with NACO, and they pay for everything, so it's not coming out of county budget. I learn from the counties who get it right. An effective leader listens and learns. And so sitting here listening and hearing how great they were able to utilize their ARPA funds, and hearing residents frustrated and citizens that are the age of my parents that they were still living, crying before us because they were told one story and was given another story. Nobody's calling them back. And these things, you lost my application. You told me to turn in this. It's a problem. These ARPA funds were supposed to be something as a blessing for those during the pandemic. And to tell residents they should be grateful, I've heard that comment, it came to me. It's an atrocity. And we have to do better. Again, I'm here with core county officials advancing racial equity and justice, where we actually just visited the Harris County Jail, which is the women empowerment systems, learning about jail systems for women, because as they stated, jail systems were not designed for women in mind. And so this county has found a way of jail reform, criminal justice reform for women, where they have various programs for them, from even getting them educated. Even Apple also sponsors it, Dell sponsors it, where they are certified when they get out of this program. And once they leave, they have jobs waiting for them. And the idea of us being here is to be able to bring that back to county so we can implement it and also think about jail reform. As we know, majority of your residents that are in the jail system, because they are residents, they're counted by the census, majority of them are mental illness. 65% of the population in your jail systems have mental illness. And so you have to provide that service for them. So I'm thankful for that as well. Speaking on Robert Rules of Order, I took that Robert Rules of Order class by an attorney at the NACO conference in July. That was a packed room full of attorneys. I actually sent that over and I have the recording. I really would like for us, and I talked to Patrick about this to actually have a Robert Rules of Order. Things that I say are not coming from Commissioner Sanders. That came from attorneys teaching this class, and I can provide you with the course. So there are certain things that we do here in the county that we're not doing right. I didn't know. I had to learn. So we have to open our minds up to learn from others and don't think we just doing the right thing here in Newton County when we have outlets to teach us how to get it right. Thirdly, I'm honored to also receive my third certification from UGA ACCG for citizen engagement. I'm excited about that. And I was asked 3 months ago, and I never said anything, to actually sing the national anthem at the ACCG conference, which I did last week. And I was honored to be asked by ACCG to do that. And my last comment is going to be a dedication to, I would call him my brother, my accountability partner in District 3, Tim Brown. When I met Tim Brown when I became commissioner, he was an advocate for me for day one. He would, there's no words that can express how I feel about Timothy Brown. For those who don't know, he was my logistics coordinator on my current campaign and supported me in my last one. But not only that, I could call him, he can call me, he holds me accountable. I can have real conversations with him. I handle death differently, so it was really hard for me to sit there. I want to remember you the way that I saw you here on earth. I don't want to see you laying in that casket. So I say to you, Timothy Brown, you will be missed. My brother from another mother. I thank you for all that you've done. Many blessings. I'm sorry. Did I go? Sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Henderson. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Butler, please. Please, Mr. Butler. I'm just short, some short. For 3 years and a half, people disrespected me. They would come up to the horseshoe and they would accuse me of stealing. And I smile, they'll make comments, and then they wouldn't wait to commissioner comment when I could respond to what they had said. They'll leave out. And for 3 years and a half, they even took it to the grand jury. Commissioner Calvin know where I'm going. Took it to the grand jury, took it to the GBI and the FBI. 3 rolls of toilet paper and some broccoli. Over $300,000. And then that same van that I own in my yard for the kids, Nelson Heights, 501c3, guess what? They would ride by, they would hire investigators ride by and see that I moved it. Man, I tell you, with $300,000 spent in this community, I could have fixed up one of those, one of the senior citizen homes. We're spending a whole lot of money, and we need not to forget about our seniors. Half of those folks didn't get their home fixed. We need to come with a program from the Board of Commissioners to start fixing little by little until we meet all those one's obligations. And the stuff that happened in our community, homeless, yeah, just take a walk out in the woods. You'll see a lot of them out there. Right around the old store right across from Quick Trip, a drugstore, they sleep out there at nighttime. That's where they even be at. You can find them. And so we might have a shelter, but it's not big enough for all the people that are in need of homes. We need to do something. We need to help people. We need to do more. Thank you.
Commissioner Cowell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've heard a lot tonight, and I'm not sure exactly where I'm at. I do know that nobody's trying to restrict anybody's speech. I'm not into that. But we do need to have some level of decency for people that come before this board. And that's all I'm really looking for, is just be decent. There's no I mean, that's just something you should have been taught when you were at home. I know my mom and daddy, that's the way they raised me. But I don't have anything else, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A lot of great things that we dealt with today. A couple things I did want to touch on. Mr. Lewis Williams, thank you for bringing that up in regards to homeless and addressing tiny homes. That has definitely been a passion of mine previously, and have done my best to address the homeless community. And looking at tiny homes, we don't currently have an ordinance in place right now. That's why you may not see tiny homes. They do have that in the city of Covington. I think that is a conversation that this board should definitely have into actually getting an ordinance in place. I think we brought that up previously, but it's probably a great idea for us to delve more into that and really come up with an ordinance to address, and now they don't call them tiny homes, they call them cottages, which is the political thing to call them cottages, and to really address that, because I think you're right. I've gone to several conferences on a national level, and I've actually visited some cottage communities. A lot of those cottage communities are predicated upon income, and so it's all based on what your income level is to be able to move into those. Some of them, they have it set up where you can purchase them, or you can actually lease them. So everybody's not in a position to be able to purchase. So you kind of really want to cater to your community to be able to try to get as many individuals in that particular community as well. So that's definitely something that we should look at as well. Ms. Belcher stated that she contacted me. Please forgive me if you did and I did not return your call. I don't recall receiving a voicemail message or email. So what I will do, I will personally go back and I will review my voicemail messages. And if I did receive one, I'll definitely make sure that I give you a follow-up call, because that is what I do my best to do, is to return all messages from the residents within 24 to 48 hours. I'm human. I'm not perfect. I might not always get it right, but I am willing to own up to say, you know, if I did miss something, I'm willing to apologize for that and be empathetic for that, and to do my best to make it right. So I'll definitely follow up with that as well. And then lastly, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out this past Friday, May 3rd. We had a movie in the park at Denny Dobbs Park for Cinco de Mayo. We had a great response, a lot of great vendors. We watched Coco the movie. We had a really great time. We're going to be having another one in June, and then another one in July, celebrating Juneteenth in June, and then back to school in July. So I'll definitely make those available as we get closer to those particular dates. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Let me take a quick opportunity to thank those who stood in for me, Mr. Cooper and Ms. Commissioner Edwards. I think Commissioner Mason was there as well. Thank you for standing in with the senior walk. I saw the pictures and I had the opportunity to talk to Ms. Frida. It was a great turnout, and Ms. Walker and Latanya and all them guys who actually helped out. The seniors had a great time, and we're just so thankful that we was able to provide that opportunity for them. We do have a need for executive session tonight, potential litigation. I seek a motion that we move.
No, we won't be voting. It's pending litigation, and we need to amend the agenda and move into executive session. We just do it in one vote. Yeah, amend the agenda to add executive session, and then a motion to adjourn into executive session.
Thanks, sir. Can I get a second that we amend the agenda? We're amending the agenda to add executive session tonight. All in favor? All in favor? Commissioner Sanders, you still there?
Yes, sir. I had a question. I'll wait till you go to discussion. I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I seek a motion that we move into executive session, please.
The question I have, Mr. Chair, is someone going to call me to go into executive session, or can I go into executive session?
We'll want you to call in you can call my cell phone, Commissioner.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. All in favor? All
Aye.
right, guys, we stand in, thank you. Bravo, we stand in executive session. That's crazy. Here, downstairs? Downstairs.